Entering Maximum Driftcast, the only drifting podcast hosted by a Spanish soccer mom, a 30-year-old silver-haired fox going on 60, and finally, a 200-pound bowl of spaghetti with chimichanga arms.
The champions, we are the champions.
Whoa, Paco, what is happening right now?
We're live.
This is the future of technology.
Yeah, and we are all here.
Well, oh God, it's Sam. Hey, Sam.
Hey guys.
This is incredible right now. I can't believe you're here with us still in Arizona.
Yeah, I'm right here, actually via the broadband of the interweb. So through all the cables and wires, we are now able to, with future technology, make it so me and my very full of stuff California house can talk to you guys in Phoenix like you're just right there next to me.
I really want to know what it's like to be a Californian. I know you've been there now for probably 3 hours. What is it like?
It feels pretty good. I loaded the truck. I went to the beach. I've got my rocket launcher right there.
Yeah.
That's very non-Californian right there.
Right when you cross over and you say that you're going to live in California, like, here's your rocket launcher. So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, so did they end up inspecting your car for the rocket launcher?
No, they put rocket launchers in my car. They inspected the car, and they're like, this car has one too few rocket launchers. Let's throw that thing in there.
Oh, nice. Well, that's cool, Sam. I'm glad you're joining us on this very first episode with the live stream. We're live on YouTube right now, Sam. I don't know if you know that.
Live on the internet, huh?
Yep. We're pretty much in this thing called live interactive experience on a 56K modem.
How cancerous is the comment section so far?
They're hating it, obviously.
It's pretty awesome. Actually, do you know, we haven't done an intro yet, so can you give us a welcome to Maximum Driftcast from a different part of the world?
Hey, welcome to Maximum Driftcast, the only drifting podcast with one guy from LA and two guys from Phoenix, and all of them are docking together via the web.
The trifecta docking?
Yep.
Hey, at least you got your bikes back on the wall. I'm glad you made it safe, Sam. You still got a lot to do, or what?
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't know if you can see, I have many more things than I have room in my house.
Nice.
So right now I'm going to try to sort enough space with the good help of band boy Brett over here. Hey.
Hi, Brett.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get my computer set up so I can be live with you little boys next week on Monday, just like normal.
Perfecto.
Awesome, Sam. Well, due to the comment section on YouTube, they said go ahead and shut Sam down.
Sure.
So they said that actually the reason they said that is because they know how much you have to move. Other than that, that's it. So.
Sure. Well, thank you, comment section, and enjoy this show where I'm sure there's just going to be a lot of fart jokes, dick jokes, run-on sentences and thoughts, but there's going to be a lot less interrupting, so enjoy.
Just for this episode, though.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'll be back to my normal bullshit next week. Don't worry.
Nice.
All right, we miss you, Sam. See you soon.
Place looks lovely.
You look lovely.
Bye, Samuel.
Bye.
You could actually wave to the
wave
people
to the
now,
camera.
and people on YouTube will see you. So.
That's ladies and gentlemen, Sam Nalvin for you.
Later, YouTube. You idiots.
Oh my God.
Bye, Dodo.
I don't miss him
All
a
right.
bit.
All right, Brian. In that stat
right.
before he keeps giving us bad hand
Bye,
gestures.
Sam.
Go ahead and end him there.
There you go.
Thank goodness, man.
Wow. I don't know what to say, man. I'm embarrassed. Like our first show, and Sam's already finger blasting our audience via the internet.
So hopefully you guys saw why we had to remove Sam from the show, because this is what he was doing to Paco and I on a day-to-day basis. And
Under the table, he was just like giving us the finger. I think people said that's like he was like finger blasting us, right?
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
That's how you say it, right? Okay.
Yeah. Well, Sam said he also learned that from his mom too, growing up, how to finger blast. But it's unfair for him to use that on us and everybody on the internet. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
So one of the things that we're about to get into it is, I don't know if you can listen, but we have somebody that it's coming from a land very, very far away, which, I mean, I wish we could see him, because I think right now we can only see we can only see like a signed. But let's see. We're still like as you guys know. I mean, we're still testing the grounds. Right
No, we're
here.
not, Paco. We're professionals at this. But
Oh,
now
yeah,
that you told
absolutely.
them, they obviously know. But yeah, as you guys kind of seen earlier in our post, we have some FIA questions
Yeah.
popping up, and I think we may have found somebody that that is going to help us quite a bit answering some of these questions. And his name is Alexi Smith. I don't know
Oh.
why. I don't know why he goes by that, but do we have somebody on the horn
There you go.
here?
Oh, who's that?
Hello.
Oh, look at that.
Hey, Alexi, we want to thank you for joining us. We are doing groundbreaking technology tonight, and for you to be part of that is it's like landing on the moon. Let's just say that.
Well, don't worry. I'm actually more than familiar right now with the struggles of this whole internet streaming, live broadcasting nonsense. So I'm sort of trying to get the hang of it myself. So I fully understand.
Yeah, well, the thing was, we were doing really, really good at the beginning of the show, and then Paco was like, "Oh, we have a technical," so we almost had it smooth sailing. No, we did. It was good.
So far, so good. I mean, I can see you pretty clearly. I don't know if the peoples actually can see you pretty clearly. I can say you look good though. You look like 1080p good.
Yeah, well, I forked out for some decent, what is it, the C922 Pro Stream webcam. That's
Yeah,
what it says anyways.
that sounds like one of the characters from RoboCop with the C922-2000, or it's a type of Terminator.
Oh, well, I've got two of them. I put them side by side. It looks like the eyes. And what was that movie, Short Circuit? Remember that?
Oh yeah,
Back in that, yeah, it looks like I've got that robot's eyes looking at me.
yeah. The
But
floppy,
anyway,
the floppy eyes. Yep.
But it's pretty cool. We got live stream going. So I noticed in the title, I just opened up the live stream and I've got it going. And you've titled the whole thing "Talking FIA with Noriyaro," which is
That's like 5 minutes of the conversation.
you're putting a lot of stress on me here because, to be honest, there's not a whole lot we can talk about. But I can tell you what I know.
Perfect.
So what shall we talk about?
Well, let's start with something real quick. Like the internet is going crazy because the internet thinks the big bad mean FIA is gonna come to their weekend grassroots events and shut it down. Now, pretty much FIA is taking over drifting all over the world, and drifting is not gonna be the same ever again. Now they're gonna require everybody to have fireproof suits and neck donuts. What do you call those? Neck restraining.
I call them neck donuts.
Neck donuts.
I'll call them neck donuts.
And you know every car is gonna have to have what do you call the fire retardant sprayers? What do you call those?
Fire extinguishers.
But not just extinguisher. You should have a fire extinguisher on your drift car. But I'm talking about like the inline installed.
Yeah,
That
it's a
sprays
fire
the foam.
suppression system.
Yeah, whatever. And you know, but I think that's not what's going to happen. And from what we heard, this company called SUNPROS, if I'm not mistaken, they're the ones who got awarded the contract of doing the FIA bidding
Yeah.
of the new drifting. So you are in Japan. SUNPROS is in Japan. So we automatically assume that you know everything that we need to know. So
Well,
thank
I mean,
you.
you're not too far off because I do like last weekend was actually round 3 of the D1 Grand Prix series at Scuba Circuit, and I was announcing for that there, and that event is run by SUNPROS. So I got a little bit of words on what's happening. So all right, let's take it from the beginning. So FIA wants to run their series, right?
Yep.
So the reason SUNPROS gets it, because SUNPROS is the company that runs D1 Grand Prix and has run D1 Grand Prix since it started off. And SUNPROS is involved also in, like, so for example, video production, like the option DVDs and things like that. Like it's not all made by one company. The whole sort of Japanese tuning media industry and competitions, they're separate companies, but they work very closely together. And SUNPROS is essentially the producer and the producer of the D1 Grand Prix series. And what they've wanted to do for the longest time, like I said, there's a lot of history with D1 Grand Prix all around the world,
But let's just forget about all that for now. What they're trying to do, right, what they've been doing with the D1 Grand Prix series recently is try and standardize like the format of the competition in every way possible, so that they can essentially, like a TV show, like, you know, you've got what are all those TV shows where they have people singing?
Mean Girls.
What's that?
Mean Girls.
No, not Mean.
Game of Thrones.
Not Game of Thrones. Like America Can Sing, or you know, whatever it's called.
Like America's
America's
Got
Got
Talent,
Talent.
or
America, all those shows, you know, America, and then you got like, you know, Armenia's Got Talent, and Indonesia's, Thailand's Got Talent. You know, it's a show that's, you know, they can run it all over the world. It's the exact same. Like, for example, you know, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Like, that was run in almost every country. You know, they had like, it was the exact same. The music, you know, Final Answer, like that became a catchphrase in Japan for a little while, actually, where, you know, people would say "final answer" like that. You know, you're asking someone a question. Is that your final answer? So what they've done is they've packaged the drift competition format into, you know, into one sort of format. They have the computerized judging system now, the DOS system. So I mean, they've been running competitions. They had a weekend, the other weekend in China. They had the competition over there, also in Russia, using the exact same format as what they use in Japan. Now, I can't say that I've been to that many drift competitions all around the world, but having driven sort of here and there, I can sort of say that one of the difficult things for drivers from various countries would be adapting to the style of driving in whatever particular country they're going to when it's being judged by humans. And I know that, you know, I see American guys who come here and drive in the any sort of Japanese competition. They sometimes have a bit of trouble, not even like from Europe as well. I've had that experience where they can't really understand why the judging is judged the way it is. And you just sort of have to get used to the way, you know, same thing. You see Japanese guys go to the United States, and all of a sudden they're like, I don't get why they're judging it this way.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So what they really want to do is make it so that any driver from anywhere all around the world can just drive. And on the other hand, though, from their point of view, they can take their series anywhere in the world, plonk it down on a circuit, and run a competition. And that's what FIA wants. So and SUNPROS has a big history of running multiple events, you know, very tight. I remember a while ago when I went to a D1 competition at Odaiba, which is the street course, or the car park course in Tokyo. Mm-hmm. And I remember watching and thinking, this is like watching a live DVD. Like, it felt edited. And this was several years ago. And they've really built up a system now where they can run a show really tight, and, you know, with lots of all the graphics, introduction graphics, and all these sorts of things. It changes every time, but you know, that's what FIA wants to run it like they want to run, you know, their other competitions, and that's what that SUNPROS can do for them.
So, do you believe having that DOS system is the one of the big factors of why they went that route? Just because it is something where if you put this computer into somebody's hand, they would understand what it does. Because if you try to explain like human-based judging, not everybody's going to be able to understand that. So do you think having that system was the largest factor of that?
I don't think that was the largest factor, but I think it was part of it, where, you know, you're taking out as much human right. element as possible. Obviously, it's all set up by humans, and, you know, it's you know, the different, say for example, course sectors are given different weightings depending on this, that, or the other. But the best thing about it, to its credit, is that it is consistent. I mean, we've talked about this before, where we talk about, well, you know, do you think the calls of the computer are odd sometimes? I mean, a lot of the drivers are all like, oh, I hate DOS, it sucks. But you don't. But I mean, you hear the same amount of complaints anytime as a human judge too. I mean, I guess they don't really. They're a bit more vocal in their This is in Japan I'm talking about. Right. They're a bit more vocal in complaining now because they're not complaining against a person, whereas before, no one would unless you got them drunk, you know, one night, right, and they started telling you what they thought. They would never say, "Oh, Keiichi Tsuchiya doesn't know what the hell he's talking about." They just shut their mouth and then go off and sort of talk about it with their friends and decide what to do, rather than say it sucks. But you see more like on Facebook some drivers saying, "Oh, the DOS system's a bit weird, eh?" But I mean, to be honest, I watched, you know, every single run at the competition last weekend, and I'd say there was maybe one run of one battle where I thought, I don't think that was an even run. I'm pretty sure I would have given it to that guy. But then again, that's about the ratio you see at a regular human judge competition anyway, where you have like, I don't agree with about 2 or 3 of the calls. So it doesn't really change it for me to watch it, I guess.
Right. So real quick with that DOS system, it is consistent no matter where you go, right? It conforms to the track, but the way that it judges is always the same, right?
No, they do set it up. I mean, it's like any other track where, for example, you have the judges, Ryan Lantane and so forth, who judge the FD in overseas, over there. They look at the course, they decide how to judge it, and then they give their criteria to the drivers. And it's the same thing. It depends on the course, and depends if they want to change up something compared to previous years. Like even, for example, at Odaiba, it's just a car park, but literally every time they run there, they run a different layout.
Right.
In order to keep things a bit clean, a bit fresh. And for example, last weekend at Scuba Circuit, last year at Scuba Circuit, they ran it backwards. If anyone's familiar with Scuba Circuit, coming under the Dunlop Bridge backwards up to the first hairpin. This time they actually ran it. It was a huge track. They ran it from the final corner all the way down the front straight. Then they had an unjudged section, and then another judged section through the chicane and into the hairpin. So it was completely different this time. They actually split the course up. And this is the first time they've done this, where there were sectors that were split apart from each other. So you could technically straighten up and do whatever you wanted between these two sectors, and it wouldn't count towards your score, which ended up in some interesting strategies from certain drivers. They do keep changing it. But again, I do think that it's not so much the DOS system, but overall it's the fact that they've proven that they can put on a show consistently, and they have a package which then they could pitch to the FIA to run their show for them.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of the series that FIA works with, it seems that data. Data is like the key thing that they look for, even with Formula One and a lot of the other sanctioning bodies. So hopefully with that is kind of the icing on the cake, is being able to provide that. And like you said, I like the 3 human judges in FD, I really do. But once again, I think it's something with the DOS system that it is something that you can learn. And like when we talked to Matt Field, for example, Matt Field went out there and ran a couple times, and he was saying that it took him a few laps to learn the systems, but once he learned the system, he was able to drive the way that the system likes. But the other thing you can relate that to is like if you have 3 judges like Ryan and Brian and Andy, they each have their own specific way they like judging. So a lot of the drivers know what they want to see, and they're able to give it to them. It's very similar, but this comes with that data.
But the thing is that when you still have the human factor, like I think it's totally good to have that digital feedback to also back up your decisions, which like going full electronic or full human like we are right now in D1. I think there should be a good happy medium where we can find a lot of I would say like a better way for explaining people what's going on, a better way of like showing telemetrics, for example, like how close we were from the drivers were from a particular clipping point, etc., etc.
Yeah, there is. The systems we have right now out in the world are the full human judges, like in FD and also some other competitions which are run around the world. Obviously, some of the ones in Europe and the UK and things like that. We also have the D1, which is fully computerized, apart from one person who hands out minus penalties for example, dropping wheels off, which is which is fairly obvious, really. It's just like giving 100%. Yes, you dropped the wheel off, therefore you get a penalty. And remember that competition in it was New Zealand, the drift shifters thing, where it was completely based on sensors and getting close to a zone and stuff like that. So yeah, you're right. There is definitely a happy medium to be found. It's just getting there, I think, is the problem. But I mean, to the benefit of the DOS system, you don't need to ship around judges around the world to get a consistent result, which is what I think. If it's going to be a worldwide competition, I think that's what we really need, is for that to happen.
Right. So with the understanding of the DOS system, what is that playing with the FIA, or what is that involvement with them?
That I do not know. Look, I'll tell you what I know so far.
Yeah.
What I've said so far is the fact that they pitched for, to run the competition simply because they can run the show, and that's sort of why they got it. Like, look, we run this many D1 rounds this year on this many tracks. We have these many drivers, committed to the series. We can do this for you. Like, I do know. I mean, it's still really in preliminary stages. Like, they're still sort of sourcing. They're trying to get drivers to come. Like, who can we get, or who do we want to get, and things like that. So it's still really preliminary. But look, talking about what people are worried about, or FIA is going to, how that's going to affect them. That's sort of a completely different thing, because I mean, here in Japan, as far as Japan's concerned, Japan has the JAF, the Japan Automobile Federation, which is sort of like a sanctioning body for motoring events over here, and JAF is already involved in drifting anyway. Like they D1 and also the other series, Drift Muscle, which is the series run by Keiichi Tsuchiya, which is not going to be run next year. It's in its last year right now. They're already sort of under JAF rules. Like if you get to the higher levels of drift muscle competition, you actually have to get like a JAF. Actually get a JAF license, like a racing license. And D1 is also under sort of JAF rules as far as safety is concerned. So as far as Japan's concerned, running FIA stuff is not going to affect it at all. Now, but talking about the rest of the world, however, there are some countries where FIA is in charge of everything. Like I know that I don't know about France, but I think in Spain I've heard any drifting that they do over there on circuits is essentially like, it's extremely strict, and the cars essentially have to be race cars to be allowed out on the track. Compare that to Japan, and compare that to ABC Circuit, where it's they're almost not cars anymore. So how it's actually going to affect it? But to be honest, I don't think that the what do I say, Team Sexy Nurse track day is not going to be affected. And people I think have put too much of an emphasis on how it will affect them. Like they say that, but what that really is like people have, like, this has been since the beginning of time with drifting, is people have an idea of what they'd like drifting to be, and if the real world doesn't match up with that, then they get really upset.
Yeah.
And like that's such a common thing, and people sort of really need to take a step back and say, like, does this really affect me? Well, no, it doesn't really.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, just this week we saw a video of Kristaps Blues on his BMW just ripping half of his car, and like the whole thing is just like it's made out of paper and it's flying in the air, and that's like literally that's a NASCAR car. It's completely overbuilt. It's probably like a $200,000 car, and I mean it's okay. Like nobody asked him to do that. He just in Latvia, where he competes, where his events happen, like there's no regulation of how extreme you can go on the modification on your cars. And, it's not like FIA is going to go and look at his cars like, well, you cut the firewall right here. You're going to be able to, like, because first of all, the FIA, it's not going to care about any events that are not FIA, number one. And number two, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Like it's this FIA competition is pretty much going to be I kind of lost my train of thought. Sorry. It will only affect.
I know what you're saying here. Let me help you out, Paco. Let me help you out. FIA event is not going to affect Drift Muscle. It's not going to affect Pro-Am series. It's not going to affect Amateur series. It's only going to be for FIA. So with these people coming in and saying that FIA is going to blow everything out, it's not, because it's its own series with its own rules that is not going to trickle down to anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody else but them. So the people that are like, the grassroots events, everything, FIA is taking over, no, it's not going to affect anybody. It's really not.
Nori? Oh, hello. Wait. All right, one second. I think we lost audio. All right, give us 1 second, real quick. We'll be right back in a second. Hello, I think we're back, and yeah, we're back. We're all good. I lost audio on Noriyaro, but let me. We're just gonna call him back real quick, and gonna make sure.
Man, it just FIA ruined our computer.
It's all that FIA talk.
Yeah, FIA really just spoiled this.
Can you hear us? Nope. I think we lost Alexi. Yeah, we for some reason. All right, Corey, give us a little bit of insight of this whole thing.
So funny. So this is technology, guys. Welcome to the the learning curve of this whole system here. But yeah, so the FIA obviously, as I was just mentioning, is not going to affect the grassroots stuff. And the only thing that is concerning is obviously what got. Oh, let's see.
I think
There we go.
There you go. We have
man.
him back. All right. Sorry about that.
Technology, man. I think we traveled faster than technology, and it couldn't keep up.
FIA conspiracies cutting off our streams.
That's exactly what it was. They heard us. They're scanning the wavelength, the radio wavelengths that we're broadcasting around right now. They're like, oh, somebody's talking about FIA. Let's just get them off the air. But we're back.
Yeah. So
Sorry
anyway,
about
so just to sum up that train of thought with with what I know at least. So SUNPROS is essentially, for the people who want to know, SUNPROS is the company, the production company that runs D1 Grand Prix and runs everything about that. They're the ones who organize the event. They've organized the judging system. They have a complete, basically, package to run events all around the world, which they've done recently in Russia for the past couple of years and also in China. So that is why they bid for the FIA series to run the event, essentially. And that's why they got it. So the first event will be run later on this year. I don't know when it is. I'm sure someone will let us know in the chat, or you'll mention it later. But it will be run at Odaiba later on this year, which is the same Odaiba that they're running D1 Grand Prix in Tokyo. So it should be a pretty cool event. I mean, people in past years have sort of been like, oh, D1's dying. It's not any good anymore. And it sort of was for a little bit. Like the amount of the crowds they were going up. And then they came down again, but recently they're just getting huge. Like all the Odaiba seating is always packed out for the battles on the Sunday. So I'm sort of looking forward to seeing. I don't know I'm going to have any involvement with that or not, or if they're going to be doing any sort of live streams or anything like that. I'm sure something will happen, but sort of looking forward to seeing how this turns out or what's going to happen with it.
Well, the other thing too that was kind of brought to our attention earlier from our audio guy, Big Balls Brian, he was saying that the gentleman from FIA, what was his name, Brian?
It was Ryan, or was Morgan.
Morgan, a gentleman by the name of Morgan, FIA, went to 2 events. He went to Long Beach for Formula D, and then he went to Odaiba for D1. But he went to FD in 2016 when they had the shit show of rain. And I'm curious to see if that performance from that round affected his decision on who he wanted to choose.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, have any of you guys spoken to FD management to see if they actually seriously applied to run the competition? Like that's sort of another thing too. Like
Very true.
Whether FD can do it or not is a completely different aspect to whether they want to do it or have the capacity at the moment to do it as well. Like it's 2 different things,
Right. And the other thing too, since you bring up that point, it's interesting to see if FD still wants to run, FD Malaysia, FD New Zealand, FD Japan. Maybe they might have a clause where it's like, hey, if you want to run FIA, you can run your FD US or you run FIA International. There may have been other conflicts of interest that prevented them from also potentially offering that.
Well, that's true as well. But also remember too that the Formula Drift series in Japan, which I also do the live stream for, that is actually run by a company called Motorsports.com. And Motorsports.com, if anyone's ever heard of the MSC competition, which has been running in Japan for quite a few years now, at least 10 or 12 years. MSC is sort of a secondary competition. It never got as big. It was never really as much for spectators as it was for actually drivers. Then they're the one who had various classes, such as the tandem class, solo run class, triple class, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
So they're the company. They again, same sort of thing. They were running drift competitions for a long time. The guy who's the boss of that, he's always promoting. Like, he's a promoter essentially. He runs events. So FD is basically all the guys come over from FD. The two Ryans, Andy, Kevin Wells, the technical director. Like, those guys all come over, but everything else is looked after locally by MSC. They organize the track, they organize the crew, the staff, all the everything else, transport to and from the airport and everything like that. So it's a similar sort of thing with that. Like, it's not like FD is actually running the FD Japan events. It's a local company which runs it for them.
Right.
So there's that too. So you know what I mean? Like, that's sort of how it works.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I had we have no idea this was something going on behind the scenes. So different companies, even though still FD, and that probably explains also like the little bit of the difference on their live stream. I don't know if you noticed it. It looks very, very different. The American one from the Japanese one, even though it sounds the same.
Oh, is that right? What's different about it?
Graphics.
Oh yeah, you guys use much different graphics, much different text. It's very basic stuff, but if you're definitely like a fan of FD, you watch it and like totally know that it's
the live stream guys over here. It's essentially, again, it's like a separate company. It's a live streaming company that does it. It's what it is. It's actually it's two guys in the back of a big high-ace van, which has like a little mobile studio. And we have a floor director as well, and a bunch of audio guys behind the stage. So again, it's a separate company doing that. Like, they do live streams for just other random sort of stuff too. So that's sort of why it's different.
I mean, if they're concentrating on live streaming, they're doing it. I mean, like, that's what they do. Like, they shouldn't be failing, right? I mean, I guess. They're probably not necessarily like an automotive company, but they're dedicated for live stream, right?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, are you saying that does the Japanese one drop out quite a lot? I don't know. No one really ever tells.
No,
me.
I never had a problem with a Japanese live stream. Have you, Corey?
No, it usually works pretty good. But at the end of the day, it just seems like, going back to kind of where we started, FI is not going to affect anybody. Oh, yeah. It's not going to change the sport in any crazy way. If anything, I truly believe it's going to help it. I think getting that type of attention, or even getting companies globally involved with the sport, is only going to grow it that much more. Yeah,
that's what even Brian and I were talking about it the other day. I think the best, like, it's actually whatever's going to happen is actually going to be beneficial for the sport, like for everybody, even for people who is not FIA. It's just the recognition of the sport itself is going to allow for more companies to understand what is drifting and be like, oh, well, maybe instead of spending $6 million on this other kind of racing program for these teams, maybe I can just like spend $300,000 on this smaller team, and it'll be a lot bigger than what they are, than what we have right now.
I do believe, my guess would be, the budget is still going to be very expensive to run FIA, because it is going to be the top teams around the world. But if there's companies that can support that, it's okay.
But I'm not talking about like running events that are FIA. I'm talking about like even for Formula Drift that is still not going to be FIA regulated. Just the fact that drifting is going to be recognized on a bigger scale. That's what I'm saying. Like companies like even companies like, let's say, like Tide or M&Ms, like the kind of stuff we see, for example, in NASCAR, that are not necessarily correlated, but they're willing to put their brand on a vehicle that they know is going to be on a motorsport that is going to be covered by more TV, more media, because the sport itself is being more worldwide recognized by this bigger entity. Even if the Formula Drift is not regulated by FIA, the fact that FIA recognizes it makes it bigger. It's like F1 and Indy. I remember like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, Indy was pretty big, and a lot of people. I mean, we're talking about like a lot of people that weren't really into racing. They didn't know there was a difference. They thought like, oh, this is like the F1 is just like a different series, because for them there was just open wheel racing you know. But sponsoring a car on Indy is probably a quarter of the money. Running an entire program is probably a quarter of the money that it takes to run an F1 program, if maybe less, you know, who knows. But what I'm saying is that the fact that open wheel racing is a recognized sport by FIA, you know, it makes it more attractive for companies to spend money, and which that also means more money on the events and possibly more payouts for the competitors, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see that. I could totally see that. The other thing too is another thing to think about. Side note to that is you have all these, and this is once again I'm going to go conspiracy talk here. So kind of bear with me.
Get on your full hats.
Yeah, get on your aluminum foil hats. And no, but the thing is, the only thing that I don't even know if this is going to affect the sport or not, but it's like, man, now do all the sponsors in FD just want to go invest their budget into FIA regulated drifting because it is the premier? Like, that's the thing, is FD going to be a stepping stone to get into FIA? Is D1 going to be a stepping stone? And then all this, you know what I mean? Like, I still think there's going to be a curve there that it's going to have to be playing on. But at the end of the day, as of right now, I don't think it's going to.
Yeah, it's not going to happen overnight, absolutely. But it should start gaining traction towards a more positive view for drifting. Especially, I mean, we've seen it. Like, we've heard about grip racers who are like, oh, drifting is not a motorsport. It's just, you know, car valet. You know, like.
Oh, can I tell you a story about that one time? I think I
Please.
might have said this once before. I don't know if I said it here. This is back when I was in Australia, and I was working for a modified car magazine, and we got invited out to TRD has I don't know if it still does, but it had two car team here, and we got invited out to ride along in their car during a test and a sort of a forest stage, just to do a report on them. And later on that day, we went back to the the factory to sort of look at all the cool stuff they're doing. Like, this is back when, you know, they were doing like 3D printed exhaust manifolds and stuff and you know, doing like flow testing on. That's when it was all brand new, and we were like, wow, this is really cool. And there was this older couple there who were rally drivers, and the husband was a rally driver, and the wife was the co-driver. And, you know, we're sort of just talking, a group of people, and someone mentioned like, oh yeah, Alexi does drifting, and the wife goes like, oh, drifting, that's not a motorsport. and it took all the willpower and might I had to say something like, well, sitting in a chair and reading a notepad isn't a motorsport either, or just something like that. It thoroughly ticked me off. But yeah, you're right. I mean, what I don't think, but on the other hand though, I don't think that drifting should seek out that kind of validation from, you know, big motorsport. You know why? Because if we just do cool stuff, people will notice.
Right.
And you know, there's drivers out there. For example, the V8 driver in Australia, the supercar driver, Shane van Gisbergen. You know, he does drift. When he wins, he drifts the track in his race car afterwards. And
right on.
And the whole crowd just goes nuts. It makes the highlight reel. And you know, remember there was that time when someone in NASCAR spun out and floored it and did this huge drift and recovered. And the commentator was like, "Hey, well, he's just like Von Gittin Jr., the drift star." Like,
I remember that. Yeah.
You remember that? And
Yep.
like, that's what we got to do. We don't need to appeal to, you need to think we're cool. Why do you think we're not a motorsport? Don't worry about that. Keep doing cool stuff like what we're doing, and people will notice.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you got to do. And you know, I mean, even like, you know, we'll notice it. You'll notice it when it happens.
Yeah, and I think as of right now, everybody notices it, and it's definitely some of the coolest driving on earth. And you know, kind of going off the story that you told, I think I may have said this last episode or two ago, but it's like some dude, I was at a NASCAR race. He came up to me and he knew that I drifted, and he goes, "Do you know why everybody sits in the stands to watch the finish of a NASCAR race?" He goes, "It's not because they want to see who wins. It's because they want to see the donuts out the end, because that's the most exciting part." You know, and it's like that's what we do all the time.
The donuts and the crashes, but yeah, true. I mean, like, people, there's a thing about seeing a car going completely sideways where you're not supposed to drive it like that, throwing big clouds of smoke with a super loud engine hitting the rev limiter, with another car doing the exact same thing at just inches from it. I mean, there's no way nobody can just see that and see like, wow, this is talent. This is a show. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So like that, I think we just keep doing, like someone in chat just pointed out, when when grip driving's happening, no one watches the track unless you suddenly hear like, and everyone's neck just snaps around to see, oh, is someone about to crash, right?
Yep.
But then as soon as if you have a combination drifting, this person in chat mentioned grid life. As soon as the drift happens, everyone's like, oh, the drifting's happening, let's go and watch. Like that's it. We just got to keep doing cool stuff. And it's been happening for so long. How many ads these days have drifting in them for cars and stuff like that? Like they're using it now as a thing. Like it's a cool thing. Like, and this is what I always tell people about drifting too. Is like whenever you have the intro to a car show, at the start where it plays like what's the song it always plays? Kickstart My Heart. And it has like the intro to the show. What do you see? What is the edited video? It's people spinning out and crashing. It's people winning and like going and it's people sliding around corners. That's the three. That's what people want to see.
No, and once again going back. I don't know if you have AutoZones in Japan or not, or if you're familiar with what AutoZone is.
I'm familiar with it.
But now AutoZone is cranking out all their commercials with drifting. They now they endorse Chelsea Denofa and Von Gittin and have this demo Mustang drift car to do exhibitions and demos in. And then, a couple years ago, BMW, contacted Michael Essa and was like, hey, remove the badge off your car. We don't want to endorse drifting whatsoever. Our cars are better than that, and to some degree. And don't quote me on that. But anyways, Michael Essa had to remove the badges on it. And then they have 2 years later, Forsberg doing all the drifting commercials. Like all their commercials was this M3 drifting around other M3s, and it's like this is what people want to see now.
Yeah.
All these manufacturers that used to kind of put their head down to it is like, oh well, shit, this is the only thing that 18-year-olds want to watch now.
Even the commercials for high mileage oil, they have like these old station wagons sliding around and front wheel drive Chevettes. They're like doing donuts somehow.
Well, I think looking at some of the commercials like years ago versus now, it's like, I run Pennzoil in my car because it tows my boat and makes my engine last longer. And it's like, I don't think that proves the performance of what Pennzoil can actually do. So then the Pennzoil engineering team gets together. It's like, no, we got to do more than that. Let's do burnouts. So then Pennzoil's like, our car did a burnout for 12. And then everybody's like, well, shit, I want Pennzoil now. Yeah. Not the old guy driving an F-150 towing his boat up a winding mountain. I don't think that sells product as well as, watching this guy just slide the whole track and destroy his tires.
But well, if Pennzoil is watching, like we'll be super happy to do burnout videos. Just send us a lot of Pennzoil and NASCAR or something like that. Yeah, we will do videos for you. Thank you.
All right. Well, let's end the circle jerk there. I think the safe thing to say is that we keep doing what we're doing. What all the pro guys are doing, just keep doing what we're doing. It's going to be cool. However, I think what we've got to address is the people who sort of get the most upset are the ones, just the regular dudes who drift and think that. And I totally understand this feeling is when you look at these, cars that look like, they're all plastered with logos from like some, like Tide or whatever, and they go like, that's not cool, right? They're the guys who get the most annoyed, right? And I really think
it doesn't matter.
Look, you just got to realize, guys. You just got to realize, just let it happen. It doesn't matter. It does not affect you in the slightest bit. And it's kind of like, when people, it's like when you're jealous of someone, and you like, when someone. Here's the funny thing. When someone hates you, you want to do everything you can to try and make them like you.
Right.
You know what I mean? That feeling. That's that feeling that people who look at these pro drivers and stuff. And what I mean? It's like, man, I'm jealous and I hate you, but I want. You know what I mean? It's like it's that same sort of feeling where you don't need to like it. You don't need to enjoy it. You don't need to. You can just turn it off, dude. Just go downstairs, work in your car, then go out, wait for it to rain, and go out to some car park somewhere and just have fun. Like. And if people have the dream of becoming pro, then the sooner you the sooner you sort of accept the fact that that's how it is and work towards it, the better it's going to be. Like, I mean, we've all met so many pro drivers, right? And like from all around the world too. Like, it's amazing. Recently, there was a dude from Kuwait who came to Ebisu Circuit at the King of Asia round that was on a while ago, and like there was like some battles, like a French guy versus a Kuwaiti, doing a Japanese a motorsport that originated in Japan on a track in Japan, being judged by a European and an Indonesian judge.
Oh.
Like, that's so cool. Like, that's the way drifting is
Right.
nowadays. It's like that. It's a conglomeration of stuff. But you can still make it what you want. Like, if you just want to be like the super slam JDM cool stuff, there's still plenty of dudes to do that. And don't limit yourself. And to be honest, the more you meet these dudes like the FD Pro drivers and stuff, the more like you just realize, dude, they're exactly the same. They like the same stuff I do.
Yeah.
Like, and so I really recommend to those guys, even if people who think, oh, FIA is going to ruin everything ruins everything, I hate everything, go and actually talk to some people like that, and you'll find that they'll be they're the nicest guys. That's sort of how it is, despite the fact that you see things like people kicking each other's cars and getting into fights during the actual competition.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that. But
Because it had happened. But I mean, I think we've seen it happening where people, I mean, at least for example, on a personal level, people that I know that they like Formula Drift, that they see somebody who's in a high position, let's say somebody who's an event organizer or something like that, who is very against this whole FIA, he makes a negative comment. So this person who's like he follows or he looks up to that person, he just absorbs it, and he's like automatically like, oh yeah, that's right. I mean, because he said that FIA was bad for me and for our
it's
events.
very it's an influencer.
So I'm gonna go against it as well. So I think that there's also like a big issue of miscommunication and misinformation, and at least like I think what we need to do, at least us, something we can do is just try to inform people like, hey, just read what this really is about. Look at all the facts before getting all angry against like what's going on, and enjoy the sport. Like one thing is not against the other. Like both.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Yeah, we said it since day one. Grassroots and professional drifting, they totally can coexist. It's not the one doesn't cancel the other.
I just want to bring up a point from one of the chats because I'm scrolling through right now as you and Paco were talking, and one of our friends, Iron Dookie, says, "I think we can all agree that these FIA regulations are definitely going to bring style back into drifting." So I think we can move on from that. I think we solved the mystery that nothing's happening. So that was it. That conversation just said, "Yep, no big deal. We're move on." Now we can actually talk about fun stuff. Nori.
Yeah, let's talk about professional drifting. Actually, you just went a D1 this weekend, right?
Okay, yeah. Well, there's been a couple of cool comps over here recently. We had D1 Grand Prix Round 3 last weekend, and also Formula Drift at ABC Circuit a couple of weeks ago. I guess just a few thoughts from that. By the way, everybody, there are live streams for Formula Drift, and there's also live streams for D1 Grand Prix every time as well. So I don't think as many people maybe watch the D1 live stream from overseas as FD, I guess, because they don't really advertise it very well for overseas. But we do it in English. Like I do it. I was sitting up in the tower, all weekend talking about what was happening. So the way they do it there is actually kind of cool. I think I mentioned this before. The left audio channel is Japanese. The right audio channel is Japanese with English mixed on over the top. So you just have to go in and adjust your computer settings so you can, or just listen to one headphone like that.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
So that round was absolutely insane. There was so much cool stuff. Round 3, the way Daigo Saito won it.
Was he in the Corvette?
He was in the Corvette. Now this is what's interesting. We have quite a few different cars, and what people are doing recently. Now this is kind of this is like an RPG term. If anyone knows what min-maxing means, basically when you have like for example a video game character where you max out one stat and don't like level up anytime
Right.
you get like an experience point, you just max out one particular point, right? A lot of people are kind of doing that these days. Like we're seeing the cars, the style of cars are starting to separate. Like we're seeing some guys, for example, Daigo Saito in the Corvette, also Hibino, he's got a new car, an S2000 with a 2JZ, and he's basically gone for maximum power, maximum angle, but the handling and sort of maneuverability of the car's gone way down. It's kind of funny. We're seeing other guys like, for example, we have a 2 GTR team now. The 2 car we have who was it? Suinaga, the younger brother Suinaga, Marcel Suinaga, and also Kawabata in the Greddy GTR. So it's a
GTR.
two car team now. They actually went up against each other. I think it was in the top 4. So we had a GTR team battle, which is kind of cool. Daigo Saito won it. He was in the Corvette V8 because it is under, again, we're talking about FIA rules and rules. The JAF rules, it couldn't be too loud. It was actually quite quiet, which I was a bit upset about. I thought it'd be a lot louder. That car has huge amounts of grip on the back, huge angle, but it seems to be a little bit more difficult to handle. But Daigo was really, really, he seems to have got the hang of it by now. There was one battle he did. Who was it with? It was with who was it? I think it was with this the guy Hirajima. He's also an FD Japan driver in the S15. He was able to stick right on his tail for the entire time, despite having a fairly big power and grip advantage and torque advantage in that car. Can really drive out of the corners really well. Some of the other that's the thing too. The car that Hibino was driving, it's a Golf Racing like livery S2000.
Yep.
Really cool looking car. Don't usually see S2000s drifting in Japan at all. He came first in qualifying.
Wow.
But then got knocked out in the top 16. So the car really, really unbalanced, like really good on solo runs, like back entries on every corner, but doing it well, like holding his speed on every corner too. I think if you look on the Zestino Japan Facebook page, they have the video there of him doing his qualifying run. Actually, also Tetsuya Hibino's what do you call it, YouTube, he's got the shot, and he actually got a max score over 100, which very, very rarely happens because the DOS judging system, you can actually max out the score. It can go over 100 if, like, for whatever they've set up for the course. Like, for example, angle, this much angle is full points. If you go over that, it will actually go it'll go past red
Right.
line in a sense.
I just can't
So
wait for somebody to go over 9,000. That's what I want. See who gets it gets it.
I did watch that
get it.
run, Alexi, and the car looks super out of control, twitchy.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like he's maxed out the stats of power and grip, but the handling looks to be really,
Dude,
really tricky.
it looked like a handful. Holy shit.
Yeah, he had a lot of trouble, especially in the chase. He didn't really know. Daigo was able to control it, and like Daigo's car, his Corvette, and that S2000 are fairly similar sorts of cars. I think, like for example, if it was like Super Mario, it'd be like Yoshi and Peach sort of thing, like that sort of style of car, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Mario Kart.
Yeah, I'm talking about Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Whereas the Kawabata, like the Kawabata Suinaga GTRs, are like Donkey Kong
Bowser.
and Koopa. Like big, heavy, powerful, but a bit difficult to drive out of a corner. But yeah, it was a great event. There wasn't any big crashes, and like I said before, the way they ran it was, there's something they do at Scuba Circuit on the front straight. You ever seen videos of people driving on the front straight? It's called Sanpatsu, the 3-motion drift, where you come around the big long sweeper, link it up against the wall, and flick it back again. That was actually part of the competition, which is amazing. I don't know if they'd have been able to do that a few years ago, because you really do need, at least 400, 450 horsepower. If you're going to have big tires too, like big grippy tires, at least 600 horsepower to make it down that front straight and actually link it. So I don't think that would have been possible a few years ago. And then you came around. Actually, I got a phone call from a guy at SUNPROS right now. Can I take this?
Yeah, go
Sure.
for it.
I'm just gonna mute this. Hang on.
All right.
Yeah.
1 sec.
And then Paco and I will keep rambling here. So I watched that event, and Brian, I was even thinking if you could find the video of the S2000. I don't know where we'd find it. If he said it was like on
He said it was on somebody's Facebook, Suenagas.
not Facebook, but he also said it was on some other page. But dude, I thought the run was just an out of control run. I didn't even think it was actually a
It's
judged
actually
run
qualifying.
because it was literally the most. And the other thing too, when I was watching it, is they don't judge line. They don't judge line in D1. You can go wherever you want. Remember Matt Field mentioned that?
Yeah.
And so you see this dude coming backwards, like not even near the inner clip. It's not even near the red and white curbing. You know, I'd call it an inner clip.
Oh, yeah.
But he was just way beyond that. Flicked it back the other way beyond off the other red and white curbing, and I'm like, how's this going to be judged? But then he gets over 100-point score. But I think, as Matt was saying with the whole judging, was that it senses the rate at which you get angle and sustain it that makes the higher score. And watching that, I could totally get it now. It was super gnarly, super aggressive, but it was just kind of wonky offline.
Well, and I guess with all the sensors, anyways, you know, it's still like if you are kind of wonky, I don't know if there's a sensor that says if you kind of lost or went, if you lost angle or went too like shaky. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of like the part. I'm still not 100% sure how the judges intercede on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, at what point do they get in? They get in the what's it called? Into the program, into the computing systems, and like add points or reduce points or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I wonder how that works, but it's definitely interesting. I mean, it gives you more to queue.
All right,
And,
so hold on. Let's see. Let's
see. It looks like here comes that.
For you
scene.
guys watching on YouTube, we're gonna play you guys the clip to see what this bad Johnny looks like.
Right.
Oh, we're watching the run right now.
It's a super quick flip.
You see how far off he is on the curving? Like it just. So, Alexi, what we were talking about is after watching that run and we're watching it again, like typically for us in FD, we're looking for inner zones. We're looking at the inner zones, and he wasn't anywhere technically where an inner zone being FD, you know, from red and white curbing, red and white curbing, or filling the outer zone. Just like me, whenever the car kind of took him, and if I'm correct, they don't judge you. Or do they do the same?
Yeah, I mean, how do we talk about this? There aren't necessarily clipping points that you or like zones that you have to fill like FD does. And yeah, it's sort of hard to say. Line is not like it's not like for example, like, you know, in like Gran Turismo where there's like a red line, a racing line that you have to follow. So like if there was like a line painted on the road, for example, that you have to follow, that doesn't really work that way. What the system is looking at is what it's more balanced towards. And I actually think this is a good thing. Is, for example, looking at the video of Hibino's car, one of the big things that gets you big points in D1 Grand Prix is how quickly. What do they call it in FD? What does Ryan Sage call it? When how quickly you rotate from this angle to that angle.
Yeah.
Rate of angle sort of thing.
Right.
Rate of angle, I think, is how what Ryan Sage calls it. How quickly you can rotate from this angle to that angle gets you a lot of points with the computerized judging system. Also, one other thing is when you see a car drifting through the corner, if you see it kind of wobbling, like yawing around left and right, that's going to get points taken off you. If you go to the corner, hold a big angle and hold that angle cleanly all the way around, that's going to give you big points as well. So rather than saying, oh, you have to put the wheel of the car in this area and this area, it's balanced towards more things that a computer can actually judge really well, you know, because a computer can look at the angle of the car. It can look at the rate of rotation. Like that's all just math that the computer can actually judge and spit out. Now, the disadvantage of that system is there are times when it can judge a run that looks bad well. In the case of, for example, if a car slides around a corner, and sometimes when someone will understeer really badly and they have to counter steer and their wheels are their wheels are understeering, but the car is actually still four-wheel drifting. Like the car, if you looked at the car from the top, the car is still sliding, but the wheels are facing the wrong way. Sort of like what you see with like four-wheel drive rally cars, the way that when they slide around the corner, the computer isn't looking at the angle of the wheels and how cool the drift looks. It's just looking at the motion of the car. So there have been a couple of times. That's it. Chat saying rate to angle is what I was talking about.
There you
go. So there are times when the drift can actually it doesn't look as cool as it should, but it's still judged well. So that's the negative of that system. But the positive of that system is there are some guys, for example, who was it? He got knocked out. He's the guy in the 180SX. There's a 180SX which is part of the what is his name? I can't remember now. Fujino.
Okay.
I think it is. Fujino. Yeah, that's it. A guy called Fujino. He drives a blue 180SX. He's the smoothest guy out there, and he was getting really good scores for that, just because the car was so smooth as he went around the corner. So yeah, it's stuff that. So line is a lot easier to judge for a human,
Right.
but stuff like rate to angle. And see, the thing is, that's why guys like Hibino, that's why some of those drivers who are flicking the car really hard and holding the angle were getting good scores.
Do you think watching that run, it looks like it's a FD judge's worst nightmare? Like,
totally.
It really is, because like, if you watch FD, which I'm sure you do, now they're putting markers down on the track, white hash marks, and they're doing this in a lot of other series now. They want you at the third hash mark, which is the closest one, and they'll deduct points the further you are away from those dashes on the inner outer zone. And with this, there's absolutely nothing to tell you where to go on track. And for me, watching that was the hardest thing to get used to. It's like, wow, that's super aggressive, snappy, but it's like I'm cringing deep down inside, because it's like you should be like, technically in FD rules, you should be there, and you're 500 feet away. I don't know, it's just something hard to get used to, but
yeah, it's I don't know. Personally, I kind of like it when you don't have to do that. Like hit like this out. I mean, regular competitions in Japan for the longest time were, we were told like, get near the curb, but usually they'd say, like, oh, within 2 or 3 meters is fine. Like they weren't really like, oh, your tire it wasn't like tennis where it was like, oh, you were 1 inch over, therefore it's out, sort of thing.
right.
So I mean, D1's sort of a continuation.
Now
of
the
that.
other
Like
thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
you go on.
Oh, so I was going to say, with runs like that, you could have different lines each run. And do you feel without that specific line, does that affect chase at all? If the lead driver is inconsistent with constantly changing lines.
Yeah, it does. But here's the thing. Guys who can read the car in front get promoted through the battle tree. And the people who can't, see, like what I'm saying is if you just rely on the fact that the lead car is going to drive that line, sure, you're going to get that consistent close battles, which I guess is good for people to watch. But you don't get these crazy far out, oh my God, did you see that moments as much. Now this round we had on the weekend at Scuba Circuit, like I mentioned before in the show, D1's always split up into different zones, which are judged in different ways. But this weekend it was split up. Now there was if anyone's familiar with Scuba Circuit, as you come down the front straight, that was a judge section. It was a 1, 2, 3 sort of link, and the drivers drove around the hairpin, and that was a non-judge section of the course. And that resulted in some drivers taking different tactics. For example, Daigo Saito is very clever. He drove around that corner with this sort of almost understeering, like grip style, and used the torque of his car to like rocket out of that corner and launch into some, build up a lot of speed so he could throw it into the final corner with a lot of angle. And other people were sort of reacting, were like weren't doing that. Like they were just driving and trying to drive as best they could. They weren't actually driving to the car in front of them. Whereas the guys who did actually get through, like guys like Kawabata who can do that as well. He knows his car, he knows how to drive it. we got some really, really cool battles where they were really close on the end. But on the other hand, though, we got some other battles where they were like way separated apart. I think it was who was it? Utsumi. I've got the battle tree written in front of me.
He's got his notes.
I have my notes. It was the guy Utsumi, and he's Daigo Saito versus a guy called Utsumi or Uchi from Night Zone, if anyone's familiar with him. His car, it's like a SR20 VE powered car, and it was just sort of he wasn't able to drive it to the level he needed to. So, I mean, we're from a driver's perspective, the FD system is better.
Right.
But from again, I sort of always say this too. But from the spectator's perspective, the FD system the D1 system results in some extremely exciting battles. But then again, is that like saying, well, some battles are unexciting? That's why the good battles are exciting. Is it like where they say like, if you pinch your hand so that it feels good when you let go? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
is the battles are actually better, or is it just because the contrast is better? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I see what you're saying. It's you could watch let's compare it to old school Formula D qualifying from like 2012, where it's like they started from the bottom of the bracket and it's like, okay, we're gonna watch the same run for the top or the bottom 40 drivers, and then it gets to the top 15. Everybody's like, all right, yeah, this is what we came here to watch.
Here we go. Yeah.
It's finally picking up. Yeah, that's what I can
Yeah,
compare to.
I mean, that's another thing about like D1. It's. I mean, it is only a top 16 format, so I guess that's a bit of an advantage there. But from one run, the first run to the last run, they're always good.
Right.
Like that.
Yep.
That is definitely one good thing about. As far as a show is concerned, that's one good thing about it. But once again, it's one of those good for the drivers, good for the sponsors, or good for the show and good for the spectators. It depends. But overall, it's a great event. Everybody, please watch the next event. Just go to the D1 Grand Prix website. It's at Osaka. We'll be doing English as well there, so it should be interesting. And also between round 1, 2, and 3, huge difference in the results too. We didn't have sort of consistent, like Daigo Saito didn't place at all in Odaiba, and some other guys who placed quite well this weekend, didn't place then. And it was just interesting to see the huge disparity in cars and handling and styles at that circuit. So it was pretty exciting overall.
Do you have to run the
for me
same
to
car
watch.
between rounds, or is there something that allows you to just bring a different car depending on the track?
There would be no reason why drivers
Right.
can't do that. Like there's one driver, for example, it was one of the I forget his name now. Jeez.
Well, it's just like in Formula Drift, you have to run the car that you use in qualifying.
Yeah.
So you can run three
yeah,
different cars in practice, and then you're like, all right, I like this one better. As long as you qualify, you have to stay in that one through the remainder of the event.
Yeah.
So that means you can switch anytime throughout the event leading up to qualifying and then drive that thing.
There's people who can do that.
You can. I don't think there's
Oh.
people that are. Yeah.
Not during the event, but I mean, we've seen it. Like Chelsea Denova, he showed up with a different car when his car broke. He showed up in the Retax car, and then he showed up on
that borrowed S14
the
in
borrow-
Texas.
Yeah, that was one
Right.
of Stonebacks, was it?
No, it was some local guy in
Oh
Texas.
no, Odie. He drove Odie's
He
car.
did drive Odie's car.
He
at
drove Odie's
Irwindale.
cars and wrecked it.
Yeah, so I think you
Yeah.
can drive anything you want as long as
long as you
qualify and you have to
But
stay in it.
I think you can't even go and practice on that car. That's
can.
what happened. That's what happened to Mad Mike. Remember?
Mad Mike just didn't want to take it, obviously because he's running Mazda. He didn't want to hop in a Nissan and go compete. That's sponsors, Paco.
No, but he was ready.
It
FD told him not to.
It's sponsor obligations on his part, right? Like if you're sponsored by Ford and you drove Fords the whole career, you're not going to go out in a
I just
Chevy.
remember Forsberg told us a different story.
No, he didn't. He was saying that the car was ready to go, but Mike couldn't take it because of his agreement with Mazda. That's
Alright.
how.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a different story.
What did Forsberg say?
Yeah, because they were even like installing the fire suppression system
Right.
and everything. Like they were getting it ready. Like they already
Forsberg
had
got it
on-
ready. To my understanding, Forsberg got it ready, but Mike couldn't drive the car through the Mazda
yeah.
agreement.
All right. Anyways,
Well, on that subject, Mike did drive an alternate car at the previous round of Formula Drift Japan.
Right.
rotary.
Yeah, it was actually a 20B FD, so it was as close as you could get to his car actually.
What round was that?
That was round 1 at Suzuka Twin Circuit. He had the car, his 4-rotor, the Magic built, the black FD, but due to a previous some previous engine trouble where they blew it. The exhaust manifold, which is like about this long because it's a 4-rotor, was slightly twisted, and they didn't sort of realize it was broken until like the day before. Like the car would run, but as soon as it got under load, like air was getting into the manifold, and it was basically only running on like 2 cylinders, I think it was, or two rotors rather.
The V8, no.
Oh, looks like we lost Alexi again.
Uh-oh. Audio.
Let's see.
Lexi, we lost audio on you again, buddy.
We lost you. Let's just call you again real quick.
We are too advanced for this, I think. I think the satellites circling the globe
Our internet is too fast.
are just...
I'm back.
Oh,
yeah, there you go.
There it is. Brian, what does that warning say in the bottom right-hand corner?
That's
of
our
the screen? Okay.
It's no worries. All right, so
Anyway,
back to you.
Yeah, so he did. So the car was. They couldn't fix the car in time, so he borrowed a 20B powered FD that belonged to a driver who lived sort of near there, and got it through initial qualifying, I think. But the problem is that he had a HKS sequential box, and I think he blew up the clutch. I can't remember now, but something happened where basically the car it was wrecked, like the transmission was wrecked, so he wasn't able to drive it. So. It was a Mazda 20B rotary, and he did drive it in the competition.
Nice.
So.
I never heard of a rotary braking.
Yeah, rotaries, those pistons usually last for a super long time.
It was the gearbox. It wasn't the engine itself. Yeah.
It was probably a Chevy transmission.
So outside of that, Alexi, what else you been doing, dude?
Oh, well, the other thing to talk about is, of course, the last round of FD, which is
there you go.
ABC circuit. Now, that was pretty amazing. Top 32. First battle of the day was Andy Gray versus Mad Mike.
Right, I saw that.
Now, that was insane. We actually we went from the first to the beginning of the end of the top 32, and the first battle of the top 32 was Mad Mike versus Andrew Gray. We had so many reruns that the last battle of the top 32 was also Mad Mike and Andrew Gray. Yeah,
so they kept going one more time?
Yeah, I can't remember how many it was. It was like at least 4.
Holy shit.
Like Mike did more runs than like in the top 32 than he would have done if he'd have gotten through to the final and won the whole day, but he got knocked out in the top 32. Like and also Andrew Gray basically had to run 2 competitions in a day with his car. Oh
God, yeah. Think about the tire and fuel consumption and just wear and tear.
Wow. Yeah, it was pretty insane. It was a very close because of course Mike won that round at Ebisu Nishi course last year. So we're all looking forward to seeing him sort of go crazy again. Unfortunately, Yokoi, who had some really good battles with Mike at the previous year's event, he was in China, I think it was, for the D1 Grand Prix that was in China, so he wasn't able to attend that event. But yeah, we had some very exciting battles between Mike and Andy, which it only ended when Mike collided with Andy on the final corner and pushed him off the track. I mean, a lot of people on the internet were kind of like, "Oh, Mike should have won it from the first round." But I mean, if for anyone who watched it live, we got Ryan Lantane on a few times to sort of talk about what was happening, and it was essentially that Mike's sort of his sort of outer clips and lines were fairly like they weren't very, what's the word for it? Consistent. They weren't very consistent. Like he'd get one clipping zone and he'd completely miss the other one, or just off the top of my head, that's sort of what it was. So if he'd have just done it a little bit better, he definitely would have won it. But there were just too many times where it's like your lead run is not that great. His following runs were amazing every time, but they just couldn't give it to him because his lead runs were always just a bit off compared to Andy. But it was a great day. But Andrew Gray ended up going through and winning that. So really, really, really hard fought day for him. Second place was this guy called Kusaba, otherwise known as Bucky. He's got
Kusaba?
a one Kusaba. Yeah, his Japanese name is his Japanese nickname is Bucky. So we just call him Bucky, like Bucky in English. He can also speak a bit of English, and he's a pretty cool guy. He came second. He's got a sort of a red 1-veer. And third place was Kuni from Kuni's Kuniaki. In his sort of bright, sort of acid yellow Toyota Mark X. Now that car, he's won D1 Grand Prix. When was that? 2000, and I can't remember what it was, but he competed for a few rounds of FD in the States and completely bombed out, unfortunately for him.
Really?
So probably nobody, unless you're a fan of sort of old school Japanese drifting, you probably don't know who he is, or you probably wouldn't remember him from competing over there. So yeah, good round. Next one is going to be at Fuji Speedway.
Who?
And rumor is that because Ryan Sage can't make it over for that round, rumor is I'm going to be doing the live stream with a certain FD Pro driver for that round. So that should be fun.
You're gonna have a pro driver talking with you.
Yeah. Instead of having Ryan Sage.
Let's see who'll be your guest, Corey.
For what?
Who's gonna be?
It's not 100% confirmed yet, so I don't want to say.
I would think it's gonna be Frederick Osbo. He's gonna do the announcing together with Noriyaro. Who do you think?
And what event? FD, and it's not.
Ryan Sage might be able to.
I'll give you some clues. I mean, remember we're running in Japan.
Also, it has to be a Japanese driver.
I didn't say it has to be, but it would be good if it was someone who knew sort of about the Japanese. Anyway, we'll see what happens. But I'm really looking forward to calling that event with whoever it is.
What track are you going to be at?
Fuji Speedway main course. Yeah.
And if I had to pick, I'm leaning a couple different ways. I'm thinking.
Say.
I know. Let me kind of gather my thoughts here, because I would even say
Brian
along
is
lines
itching.
is Brian. What big balls? What do you want to say?
It's Robbie Nishida.
Robbie Nishida.
No, because Robbie's a judge. Remember?
There you go, Brian. You got called out, man.
I see Brian over here just like lip singing, like
trying to be polite.
Yeah, he's raising his hand. I'm like, what big balls? What who do you think? I want to say it's Kumakubo. I want to say something like old school.
Speak
like,
English.
No, I said it's going to be an FD Pro US driver.
Oh, I missed that part. Well, shit. Farouk.
Farouk Kuge.
It
could be Dai Jiro.
Could be Dai.
Yeah, it could be but Dai seems like it has like a very, very.
I hope it's
easy...
James Dean. I hope we get James Dean out there.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. I'd like to do a commentary with an Irish.
It'll be
guy.
great. Like
Dude,
nobody's gonna understand anything
the Japanese
between an
fans
Aussie
have
and an Irish. You guys probably gonna start get into a fight or something.
Drinking booze a little earlier.
We'd probably have to be drinking the whole time of the for the live stream. But
Anyway, I'll drink each other.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. So the next thing's coming up is Formula Drift Japan at Fuji Speedway, and it's actually at a bigger event too. It's going to be part of like a bigger event that's being held at the Fuji Speedway. So that's kind of cool.
You know what's the date?
Hey, fun fact. Can you see Vaughn getting Jr. judging one of those events? He's like, get this shit out of here.
Look at that little Nissan right
That's an old fucking Nissan. No, I bet he'd be super fun. I just don't see him judging though.
Judging or commenting?
Commenting or either or. I think he needs to be driving, or he's not doing either one.
Oh, interesting to watch.
It's not. Well, I said it's something that knows a lot about Japan and Japanese drifting. So yeah, it's not going to.
So it's not going to be the American bald eagle out there judging.
But that said though, I reckon it'd be fun to have. Yeah, I think it'd be fun to have pretty much anyone.
Oh yeah.
Here.
They'll have
someone in the comments wrote that. A guy called Hamo M said. Maybe Vaughn, I reckon he'd be super popular in Japan. I got to say, when JR came over a couple of years ago with his Mustang and ran it in the D1 event, he sold out of every single piece of merch that he had.
Wow!
Literally, one of his mechanics was wearing one of his team jackets.
He had to take it off.
He took it off and sold it to this guy.
Wow!
Because they were like, dude, I want something. What do you got? And it's like, here, you can buy this. He just took it off his back.
I think that would happen.
Everything.
I think that would happen if you came out here. And when are you going to come out here?
I don't know. I was actually, I did say before I was going to come over, but it didn't work out for my schedule.
We need to make the
so.
formal,
Are you going to
the
plan
formal
on?
invitation.
Yeah, are you going to plan on making any FD US event or what?
I don't know. If I went, I'd probably have to stay out of the side of Jared. He might want to choke.
Oh, who cares? Yeah, Jared to be looking at.
No.
I don't know. Maybe I'll get a booth or something and
We just
and
have
sell
some
merch to
beers
pay
all
for the flight
together.
or something. Yeah.
Dude, you should really try to come out.
I know. Look, I mean, Jesus, I have so much stuff to do here. Like, get my 100 running. My 100 doesn't run. My 32 doesn't run. My van still has the horrible lock diff. I got to go and change that after I went snow drifting, and it's so embarrassing to drive around. It's like every time I drive through like a service station, because they all have people at the service station. 'Cause
Right.
It's like a service station, and it's me driving on the forecourt going like they're like looking at me like, is your car okay? Like, so I have so much stuff to do here. I'll make it over there eventually, but just give me some time. I have to plan a thing.
See,
I don't
who is that?
Can I come to Arizona? You
Oh,
guys in
dude.
Arizona, right? Yeah.
Well, the thing is, we'll throw an event in Arizona, and we have some cars for you to drive too. It's going to be left-hand
Yeah.
drive, but
Yes, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
are you good at left-hand drive?
I look maybe the first couple of corners I might smash my hand into the door trying to
Matt,
pull the handbrake.
Matt's
but
got a
after that,
couple right-hand drives,
I've,
so
Yeah,
I've driven a couple of left-hand drives. so
I
I'm
would like
fine
to
with
get
that.
him in left-hand drive though.
let's put him in the van. Oh, just put him in the Lexus.
Yeah, we'll put him in the Dodgy van.
Have you ever driven a V8?
I have, back in Australia.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the land of the V8s.
The end of the V8s.
Yeah.
No, I got no problem with left or right-hand drive. It's fine. Yeah. No, it looks. I'll come over one day. I don't know.
We have a-
Everybody's like, oh, come to Ireland, come to. But the reason people say like come over is the reason people like watching my stuff is because I'm doing stuff over here. It's not like I don't think it'd make much of a
Dude,
a reason to come over there.
I think you can
Yeah.
have a fun twist on that. Like Nori in the States, it's like
Yeah.
I think you being so shocked by the culture difference and alone would be awesome.
We should take him
that is true.
to pavilions where
true.
all these Mustangs are crashing. And
Oh,
living
see
the
all these
show
crazy
and-
American V8s on the street.
Yeah.
We could take them to super unhealthy burger
Yeah.
restaurants.
And we have a
Oh, yes,
beautiful
yes.
122 Fahrenheit weather going on right now. It's 50 Celsius for
Dude,
you.
we should do a Patreon campaign to get Alexi out here.
No, just do a GoFundMe.
We should do something.
with your corporation.
The
we can
Maximum
bring
Driftcast
Alexi to
export
States.
Nori back to the States.
Sell like supporter stickers or something like $50 each. Just to,
Oh,
you know.
God. If you guys would be interested in that, drop a comment below if you would like to have
Well, on
Alexi-
the other hand of that subject though, at least I think recently it's at least 15 or 20% of my YouTube channel audience is actually Japanese. So I'm sure they'd like to see that as well. So put it the other way around.
Come here
go
and
to
take him
what it's like in
to
the States.
import car meets. So it's like the same cars but wannabe Japan kind of. You had that you posted that video not even a month ago, the lowriders in Japan.
Dude, that blew me away. I
How
had
crazy
no
was that? You
idea.
saw that one, Corey?
No, I didn't.
It's like he was surrounded by cholos.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and,
Okay.
And hainas and mijas, and the people were like jumping on the lowriders, and and they were saying "Konnichiwa, vato."
Oh, that was right up
Yeah.
Paco's alley.
Dude, it was mind blowing. I was like, it's one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, I thought you might like that one. Yeah. Well, it's surprising. I mean, I'll just say it. It's surprising how much, like, if you get a Japanese guy who's like a little bit built, give him a tan, shave his head, have him grow a mustache, and wear like a shorts and
Long shorts and a bandana.
long shorts and a bandana. Yeah, it's like
Turns into a homie.
They look Mexican. It's
Little
amazing
cholo.
how-
Yeah.
But he says
In Mexico, we call him Chino.
well, it's so funny because he says like a built Japanese guy that's like 5'6", 130 pounds would be like a little built Japanese guy.
Like little cholo.
Yeah.
Cholo Chino.
What would they call that? How do you say cholo paquito?
Chino cholo. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know if they've got a word for that sort of thing over there. But
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
over here, but yeah.
In Mexico, everybody who's got Asian eyes, it doesn't matter if you're Japanese or Chinese or Thai or whatever. You're Chinese, so you're
Right.
Chino.
So everybody's Chinese
Yeah,
in Mexico.
it's we're
Oh.
the worst. We're that terrible.
Just they're all Chinese. It's like
yeah,
okay.
It's like here, like, oh, you're Mexican from Panama.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're terrible.
Yeah, but on the other hand too, they had like all girls with tans and bleached hair and booty like.
Dude, yeah,
You
that's
never
some-
see Japanese girls with booties, but you do at these shows. I guess
Yeah, they were like
must
wearing
do something.
like tiny bikinis, and they were like being all sassy, like hainas and like.
What's a hyena?
It's like a slang for honey.
Oh.
Haina.
Would I be a
There was
hyena?
even
No.
a stand that was like just selling Coronas as well, like glass
you go.
bottle Coronas.
Oh
Yeah, it
my
was-
god, you just
Damn,
had a
that's
culture
legit.
shock. Dude, that's
It-
every day here in Phoenix, Arizona. I think
Yeah, well, it was because the weather that day was also like it was exactly like sort of California weather too. It was like it wasn't too humid. It was nice and hot, and the car park where we were was all surrounded by trees, so you couldn't really see outside.
Yeah.
And it's just everyone's just bumping American music, just gangster like gangster rap and
LA,
and
Cypress
it
Hill.
was just it was LA.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, like
was
it'll
amazing.
be crazy. Like if I go to Japan and it turns out, there's like a Mexican
oh,
cholo,
you'd be a legend.
South LA.
You should just go there and speak Spanish to everybody.
¿Qué onda, vato?
Yeah. Hey.
Maricón.
Oh no, Paco! Don't repeat
No,
that.
well, you get that. Like I've seen a video once of I think it was some Mexican. I think they were Mexican rappers or something who have a little bit of a following in Japan. Like they come here and have a little concert and meet and whatever, and all those people they all come out. By the way, there is all those lowrider guys.
Uh-huh.
Like they're usually they live out in the countryside usually, but it's the first. I think it's the first Saturday or Friday of every month. I think it is. They have a lowrider meeting in Shibuya, in the middle of town, and there's a park right near Shibuya where there's a big road that goes down the middle of it. So there's no like people really, and they just go and just bounce down that road
Wow.
But
every
do you-
month. Like the first of every month. Actually, I'll look it up. I've got it on my phone.
But do you know what the thing is like out there you don't have to worry about their packing heat or not because I don't think you can have guns in Japan, right?
Well, if they were, I mean, they might have a little airsoft gun in the car, just like in the
Thug
glove
life.
box, just for the looks. But yeah,
That's thug life.
Everyone's just is really, really super nice at those events.
Yeah.
I could walk up to people would sort of walk up to me and go, "You're Alexi, aren't you? Come look at my car." Like it was,
And you're
it was
like, "Hi, I'm Alexi."
Next time you go to that one, try to throw him like a blood sign, in your finger. See what happens.
That's the thing too, because like if you saw in that video, there was like Mr. Cartoon painted cars and stuff like that. And what I've heard, like, a lot of those cars, some of those cars are built in Japan too. Like there's quite a few like lowrider workshops, and their work is like I've seen the ones which are built here, and they're beautiful. But quite a few of those cars are actually just imported as is from the States.
Yeah.
And what I believe the story is for some of those cars is if they were seized as part of like proceeds of crime, like for like drug related, bought with drug money sort of thing.
Yeah.
The story I heard was that they were put for auction for export only. So they couldn't be, rebought within America and then, sold back to the people who belong, who own the car in the first place.
Interesting.
They actually had to be exported out of, which is where quite a few of those cars came from. So a few of those cars in that show were probably actually genuine, drug cars, which sort of adds a bit of a flavor to it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Dude, Japan just keeps getting cooler and cooler.
It's-
I can't wait for St. Patrick's Day in Japan.
See, the thing is, Paco, if you go out there, you'll be a legend because you can fit in as a cholo and a hyena. If I go out there, I'm just gonna be that other Caucasian guy. That's probably just like, hey, how's it going? I'm the
another-
awkward
another
Caucasian guy.
gringo.
Nobody, Paco. So like, I could be your bodyguard or I can be your stunt double. But yeah,
don't
Alexi
look
will be
alike.
recognized. Paco will be a hyena, and then I will be the
The gringo.
the gringo. Yep.
Yeah, I just looked it up on my phone. It's the first, for anyone who wants to go to Japan, first Saturday of every month in Shibuya, just near the crossing, they have a lowrider meeting. So
Shibuya,
and then they-
Shibuya boy.
Then they drive down the road to the middle of Yoyogi Park and
Yo Yogi,
Bounce-
Shibuya,
bounce
yo
up
yo,
and down.
yo Yogi.
I haven't been there yet, but someone told me about it, so I'm probably going to go there and make a video about it.
Is that what you've
next-
been Is that what you've been doing a lot lately? Is just cranking out some vids?
Well, I don't make as many as people would like. Just other stuff gets in the way. But I'm really sort of pushing my YouTube channel because it's a good excuse to do fun stuff and
Pays off.
you know, it's YouTube, being a YouTuber is a thing now, so it's a legitimate way to actually spend time, not just mess around, And I mean, look how many car YouTubers there are these days who are like, it's what they do, like that's what they do.
know.
You know?
And, I mean, speaking of YouTubers, you just had a couple YouTubers over there visiting, right?
Yeah, the biggest one we had at the Matsuri, the spring Matsuri, was a guy called Adam LZ, and his YouTube channel, I think it's LZ BMX.
Yep.
we mentioned this before. He was previously a BMX YouTuber. Gained a huge following from that because he started like uploading sort of daily videos, and now he's basically a drift YouTuber. And we kind of hooked up because YouTubers kind of stick together. We don't hang around with the plebs.
Us
yeah.
peasants, Paco, we're out.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Peasants.
Do you know?
We're
I'm
in
gonna-
YouTube right now. We are in Juicy, just so
you-
you know.
Do you know what I'm gonna do, Alexi? I'm actually gonna quit drifting and start riding BMX. just the struggles of being a 30-year-old BMX racer.
You're ready. Your body's ready for BMX.
Dude, my body is ready for
Oh, yeah.
BMX.
Oh, yeah.
6'4", 235 pounds, racing against some midgets. Yeah.
Well, I think that's sort of one of the reasons why Adam has switched over to doing car stuff now. Is because obviously you can't really do BMX for. I mean, there's guys who do, the most famous guys that do BMX, forever. But your body, it does take a toll on your body after a while. So I think that's sort of one of the reasons why he's transitioned over. But also because it's just cool.
Right.
And so he came over with a few other people who made videos. But again, one of the reasons he said that he was confident in coming over here is because he watched some of my videos of Ebisu, like the one I do where I drive around all the different tracks.
Yep.
So yeah, we hooked up a little bit. I sort of I appear in his videos every now on a couple of those videos. But yeah, guys like those everyday. If people out there are sort of thinking like, man, I'd like to make YouTube videos and be like a YouTube vlogger, it is hard work. Like I learned a lot from just talking to him and watching the way he does things, and it's really a mindset that you have to be in to do that sort of thing. You have to be very sort of focused and consistent with it if you want to make it a thing, not just sort of upload stuff just for fun or for your mates to watch.
Yeah, I had Tanner Fox out here probably like a month ago or so, and he's another YouTuber. And he's I think at 2 million YouTube subscribers, but he does daily vlogs Monday through Monday. And to watch him shoot, go home and edit, release, pick up the camera. You're on the camera 24/7. And to me, that would wear me out so fast. And for me, I like scripted comedy. I like scripted content. But you can only do that maybe 3 times a month versus like, hey, guys, this is what I'm doing. And honestly, like these other dudes do extracurricular things like Tanner Fox. He's a scooter rider. He rides Razor scooters. I don't know if Razor scooters is like an insult to their type of scootering, but yeah, he scooters, and then now he's super involved with cars. But I can't imagine how many people would find it interesting for me to ride a scooter as well. But the thing I've been thinking about YouTube as well, Lexi, is the trend has started. Is it too late to get in? That's the thing I've been thinking about.
No way. Like, well, look, I mean, I've obviously as a YouTuber, I'm sort of interested in what the huge YouTubers have to say about YouTube, and I don't think it is because, I mean, people are sort of getting into it, getting out of it all the time. It's never too late, but the thing is, you got to have a reason for people to watch you, and like if you watch all these different guys, like they have different. For example, like one of the biggest YouTube vloggers is this guy called Casey Neistat, which probably a lot of people are fairly familiar with. He was the guy who there was that video that went viral of snowboarding through New York, through Manhattan.
That was pretty good.
When it snowed last year. Like that's that guy. And he did daily vlogs for like 2 years or 3 years or in like every day, literally every day. And there's guys like that. And he's like a professional cinematographer. Like he makes videos, like that's his job. So what makes his videos so good is the way it's edited, the way it's presented, the way it flows. Like he just sort of does cool stuff all day. It just appears to be, that sort of thing. It's the same thing with all these other guys. Like, for example, Adam LZ, who else is there? I've forgotten his name.
Who is it? Hold on, let me see if I can find one.
Geez, I talked.
Hold on, let's see if I can. I'm gonna try to find it
Taylor,
before.
Sorry, I got it. Taylor Ray.
Okay.
Taylor Ray was over here as well. I only talked to him like once or twice. So he's also the same sort of thing, daily vlogger doing car stuff, and like I don't think I could do daily vlogs, but I try and make the videos at least sort of once a week. I had to take a break recently, but everybody's got their own way of doing it.
The guy I was thinking of, sorry to interrupt, was TJ Hunt.
TJ Hunt, okay. TJ gets a lot of hate.
Yes.
Both car people and just, I don't know. And what I think is okay, here I'll say what I know is the way I do it is I make videos for the Alexi who is still back in Australia and never actually moved to Japan, which is, I never had, if I didn't have the means to do it. So I think that's one of the reasons why why some of my videos are very popular is because I show people stuff like, hey, come with me. I'm going to show you some cool stuff. Let's sort of do it together, And like,
Right.
a lot of YouTubers are like that, where I'm going to do some cool stuff. Let's do it together, you know. But one of the things, one of the common themes though, if you look at a lot of these guys, is they act like a 14-year-old boy would act if he had the means and the money and the ability to do whatever he wanted to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like there's this one fairly popular YouTuber, I forget his name, it's Mo Vlogs. He's this guy, he's like a early 20s guy. He lives in I think it's Dubai. And literally every day is just Lamborghinis, Ferraris, luxury hotels, crazy stuff, jet skiing, all this. Like he just does cool stuff all day, every day, basically. And that's what people want to be taken with you on a little trip,
Right.
to do stuff. So, I mean, that's the sort of the common theme of literally every vlogger that's popular. It's like they do stuff that their audience wants to do. Yeah, and you take your audience with you, and that's sort of what I was like. Me sort of being, it sounds sort of selfish, but I do it for me who never came here. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, that's like you said, that's exactly why people watch you. And like the last video that I watched of yours was it at the abandoned Skyline or the abandoned
yeah,
Supra?
it was a 70 Supra,
And that was in the ditch off a mountain, and I watched that, and like
Yeah.
realistically, me looking, I was like, oh, it's just an abandoned car, but the story and what you were saying is what kept me engaged in it. And
that's another thing too, is the way you present something. I learned this a long time ago. This is back when I was at school. I had to do this assignment where basically you had to do a presentation on a subject, but it had to be just some random weird subject. And what I ended up doing was, what kind of white wine goes with what kind of fish, right?
Right.
It had to be like, but the way what you were graded on was not the subject, it was the way you presented it. And that was I don't know why I remember that. It was a really big learning experience where it doesn't matter what you actually show. You could show the coolest thing in the world, but no one will care.
Right.
But you could show like, hey, check out this little thing I found on the ground. Like if it's got a story, if it's got like some interesting facts around it. Like that, I mean that's what, there's quite a few channels on YouTube that are like that too, where it's an everyday thing, but they present it to you in an amazing way.
Yeah.
Dude, I have she's an 8-year-old niece now, and she has an iPad, and so when I go over to visit my brother, she's there, and what she watches all the time on YouTube blows my mind. And what she does is watch unpackaging of toys and Shopkins and shit, and literally the detail and the camera work and the way they're explaining and how excited they get when they open it is what keeps them watching this video. And these videos have 20 million views per package.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
And it's like, oh my God, like what type of money are they making off 20 million views?
Yeah.
A lot.
What do you
Oh, yeah.
think? What would you, if you could
A
put it in
lot.
US dollar, what would you guess? 20 million.
Well, it depends on how many. 20 million views.
Yeah.
For a video.
Yeah. Just for reference, I have a
You could-
video.
10 grand or more. Like.
Oh my
depends.
God, we're in the
Yeah.
wrong business. I should work for Alexi and be like a stunt double.
I have a video with about 6 million views, but it's been almost 4 years at this point, and I had it pays me every 3 months, and I had checks for like $900.
From YouTube?
Yeah, and it's split. It's already split 50% with Defy Media, so it could have been a lot more. But I mean, imagine if you're constantly pumping 20 million view videos every week, you're banking.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
And those
Yeah. So this is the way it's going now. Where this is the new media, and I think that guys like you, especially, and guys like us, who are on the whole YouTube live streaming, presenting sort of stuff. This is the way it's going. Like you got guys who, for example, on Twitch, who play video games for 8, 9, 12 hours a day and are making $1-2 million
Yeah,
a
it's
year.
crazy.
You know,
Yeah.
like this, it's what people want to see. Now, what I think, and literally every series now of drifting has a live stream as well, right? They have FD has one. All the European ones, the King of whatever series it is, Europe or whatever, whichever one they're running that day, or the Irish Drift series and stuff. They have an amazing stream. It's really good. Like, it's very high quality, great to watch. This is the way it's going, and we really need to push this to push our sport, because the people who watch our sport are the same people who watch this stuff. Like I made the mistake one. Yeah, someone in the Nissan Pacific in the comments wrote Summit 1G. Yeah, Lyric and guys like that on Twitch.
Yeah.
They're making ridiculous money for what they do, and I'm not. And don't get me wrong.
It's
I'm
like
not
not
saying
even fair.
oh man, we need to grab this cash for ourselves. That's not it. This is another thing about YouTube as well. Is I've been to quite a few sort of creator meetings and stuff like that, because the YouTube headquarters in Japan is like about 25-minute train ride from here. So I go there whenever they have like these things on, and you get various levels of YouTubers attending, like people with 100 views, 100 subscribers, and then you get guys they've got like 1 million, 2 million, stuff like that. And a big difference between the two is the people who have lower subscribers and don't get that many views are absolutely obsessed with how much they get paid or whether they can monetize their video and things like that. Like there was this one, there was a girl at one, and she made like about LGBT issues in Japan sort of channel.
Oh.
And look, that's fine. I'm not
Right.
not saying anything about that. But she was like, "Oh, I keep getting my videos demonetized and stuff." Like, well, yeah. That's how it works. Like, that's how YouTube works. But but on the other hand, the people who are really huge, they don't think about that. I know it's easy to say, like, well, yeah, when you're rich, you don't have to worry about money. But it's that mindset. Like, you just have to make the video and think about making the video for people to watch, making it for them, like presenting it to them. And that's what all these guys, that's why all these guys like Adam LZ, he's switched over from being BMX to car, and he's become more popular. He was already million subscribers before he switched over to car stuff.
And there's more talking than driving, right?
Well,
yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes too, it's just driving the whole thing. Like, I mean, I can't watch all these videos because I just don't have the time to do it.
Yeah.
But I'll try to watch. Like, I watch way more YouTube than I should, to be honest. But all these guys, it's the way that they present. So when people, like, for example, one of Mad Mike's mechanics, a guy called JT, a Kiwi guy called JT, I had a big long chat to him because he was thinking, oh man, I want to start making vlogs and stuff like that. And I just said, you just got to do it. And if anyone out there wants to do it, you just got to do it. And you're going to go for the first like 2 years. If you think about making money, forget it. You're not going to make any money. You have to treat the first, year or so as a learning experience. Like, I've been doing video stuff since high school. So, it takes a while to get hang of, and learning how to edit, and the fact that editing takes so long to do and it's such a pain in the ass. Whereas, for example, I learned from Adam about how he edits, and the way he edits is basically linear. He edits from front to end, using just the keyboard, very quickly, very aggressively, and ruthlessly, and then just gets the product out there. And that's what people have to realize is you can't spend 6 months. I shot this at the Matsuri last year, and I finally got around to putting it out now. I know there's guys who do that, but if you want to make it, if you want to get popularity out of it, that's what you got to do. Is like all these guys. That's the big thing. The YouTube says that to people in there when you have these YouTube creator meetings. What's the number one thing to do to get more subs and make more money?
Keep
Upload every day.
Every day.
That's what they
It doesn't
say.
matter if it's bad or good. It just first revision, like, you don't go through storyboards. You just go and like you said, like very linearly, just start in the beginning and the end, just make it kind of short.
Well, I think for any form of
Send
social media, it's just consistency purely.
Yeah.
If you want to have more followers, it just constantly post good stuff. That's all you got to do. And hopefully they would come, because once again, if you take a break, somebody else is going to be posting when you're not, and it's as long as you're keeping it active and keeping your audience engaged. I think that is the biggest key. And the other thing too, Alexi, is like, it seems like social media and this YouTube stuff is another piece or a big piece of being successful in motorsports.
Is it though?
I think it is.
Because you can get, okay, for example, Daigo Saito has the worst social media presence in the world.
I would agree with that.
Right? He, like, this is what you got to think about. And this is one of the things, like, this is what people have to think about, I think. I mean, I'm not a pro driver, but I know what my strengths and weaknesses are. And you just sort of got to play to that. Like Daigo, when he wins, like, they go up to do the interview. Congratulations, you won. And he's like, thank you. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
So,
Kimi Räikkönen.
But then he has a wall in his office of just like so many carbon fiber trophies that he could probably lose half a dozen. He wouldn't even notice.
He could probably make a couple sweet carbon fiber hoods out of them. Just break them down and start making car parts.
Yeah. Or like cut them in half and make them like bonnet vents and stuff.
Well,
like that.
So here's the other thing too. Talking about Daigo, because he's a great example. The thing is Daigo is an older guy, right? He was in motorsports before there was social media, and he was successful at that point. But the thing is when you find talent like that, I think his supporting sponsors does the marketing for him.
That is true. I will say that Daigo is actually younger than me.
Is he?
Yeah, he's like 35 or something like that.
What a
he's like,
damn it! So he's just a little bit older.
This is a baby.
Yeah. Well,
but on top of that, though, a lot of Japanese drivers are horrible at social media to begin with anyway. Like they're all, a few of them are starting to, for example, Tetsuya Hibino has a channel, but he when he shoots from the camera like down low. He doesn't know that whole like thing where you got to hold the camera like up like this.
Yeah.
So he has double chin cam basically.
Yeah, the double chin and his face is all dark because the exposure's on the sky and he doesn't cut it very much. So look, they're trying. A lot of them are trying,
right?
But none of them are really doing it that well. But yeah, I mean, but on the other hand, though, Daigo, I did do that video a long time ago when Von Gittin Jr. went to Daigo's workshop because they're both sponsored by Monster Energy drinks,
right? And
he had his car there. He was storing it there for the event they were having at Odaiba. So I thought I'll go out there and just shoot a video because we got Daigo and JR and the Lamborghini was being debuted at that time. And that video got I think it's like 2 million views by now. And Daigo, I went to his workshop one time for some reason and Daigo was actually like, so Alexi, what does that video kind of get you with money? Like, what do you Yeah, he was he was on the down low trying to suss out like, should I actually spend money on social media or, you know what I mean? Like he was interested in it because he knew that because he was getting bugged by, the guys from Monster or something like that. Like that, one of the reasons, actually the main reason why there's an English live stream, thankfully for me, there's an English live stream for D1 Grand Prix is because Monster Energy told D1, we want an English live stream because we've got, Daigo in here. We want to promote, we want more people worldwide to be watching this.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure he's getting bugged. I'm sure a lot of the other drivers are looking at, especially they look at the American stuff and go, especially like, for example, like Mad Mike's, the stuff that Tommy does for him. It's all super produced and depth of field and great. And they look at that and go, oh, I want that, Like they've said that, like, man, it'd be nice to have that kind of video, I could give to my sponsors and stuff like that. So, yeah, they're all into it. So there's a potential market there for people.
So going back to the theory of how it is a big role in motorsports, or I think it could be in any sports, really. No, I take that back. It can't be in all the sports, but it's like, obviously you can't use social media marketing to be the greatest soccer player in the world, but it can help support you to be recognized. And like, you could look at some drivers, we could go the Ken Block route. I had talked with some of the Hoonigan guys today and a bunch of other people. And it's like, when Ken Block first started, he wasn't the greatest rally car racer in the world, but he used social media to get him so famous that people were instantly interested in his branding, right? And a lot of the guys that I talk to in motorsports is they're saying, and this is a lot of people's motto in the industry is, hey, you're not always going to guarantee us a win. You're not always going to guarantee us a podium, but what can you guarantee us? And what you can be guaranteed is video content, images from that round, something that they can use and share and create that they're guaranteed. And it could be great content that could go viral. They could probably get more views than actually the people being at that event, you know? So I think that's why it's so important, because it could be an outlet that is always guaranteed to the sponsors at the end of each round.
Yeah, it's definitely true. I mean, I've noticed that as well with me, even just for me over here. Like, this is really funny. Yesterday, one D1 driver, Tokita, walked up to me with this girl. I don't know if it was his girlfriend or wife or like a friend or something. And she handed him her mobile phone, and he took a photo of me with her. Like, she wanted to get a photo with me. And I was kind of like, oh man, I feel kind of bad. Like, but yeah, you're right. You walk in, if people know your face, especially for motorsport. Like, this is what I've always thought is, we were talking about before about, you want to get attention from, like, for example, I want to get sponsored by that guy. I should appeal to that guy. That guy, whoever's the boss of a company, they get so many sponsorships spelled, SPONSER ship,
Right.
like, oh, sponsor me, bro. I'll put a sticker on my car. Like, they get that so much.
Oh,
that they don't
God,
care,
yes.
right? Yeah.
Right.
But the way I've always thought that people should do it is, and this has worked out for me this way as well, is you don't appeal to them. You appeal to the young mechanic who works there, or the guy in the back room, or their kids. This has happened with YouTube and stuff. It's like, the boss of a company sees what their kids are watching, go, oh, who's that? It's like, it's PewDiePie, Dad, don't you know? And then they go, oh, okay. So this happened once when I went to a workshop to talk to somebody about something, and he'd seen me before. I didn't know who he was. And then there was again, it's what I'm saying. There was a mechanic who works there who was like grinning his face off because I'd walked in, and event at the end he was like, Alexi, can I get a photo with you? And I know that the guy saw that, so
Right.
that's the tactic I think that people maybe, if you have an idea how to do social media, that's the idea. You're not meant to appeal. Who cares? Nobody, like, no D1 driver watches my videos. No, pretty much. I don't know how many FD drivers watch probably a couple, whatever. But all the fans watch it. Like, I don't want to appeal to them. I want to appeal to the wide audience. So yeah, like you said, you can walk in and go, look, every time I put out a video, 250,000 people watch it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think
You're
it
right.
also has a lot to do with what is everybody's particular goal. It's like, I know, for example, like some people,
Yeah.
they want to make like good quality content, very beautifully produced videos, with a story, and they don't care if they get millions of views, as long as they get like the recognition that their quality, that the storytelling is good. Some other people, they want the fame, they want the money, and they don't want to make like good quality content, but they want to appeal to the people who just wants to stay up to date, and there's people who's kind of like in between. So at the end of the day, I think it counts on, and it's all about what's everybody's particular purpose with this.
Yeah, that's right.
So Corey, what kind of videos you're gonna make?
I don't know. Like I said, I like making scripted comedy. I'm not a vlogger. I like making
Are you still down for swallowing a 12-pack of hot dogs?
I would do that. I'm sure. Once again, I would appeal more to a larger audience than just a drift audience.
Yeah.
So I think that could be very beneficial as well. So that's kind of what I look at too. Is like when I sell videos or make videos, I want to target the people outside of motorsports, because I think there's a larger audience who likes entertainment and likes humor more so than just likes drifting. But now if I could take that personality and the entertainment and drag them into the drifting community to kind of get them absorbed, and
That's
that's
interesting.
that's the theory that I base off. Is I want to create content that appeals to everybody, and then at that point try to get them to follow me more often, because it is an entertaining video.
See,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that brings me to think like the guys like Adam LZ, who they had a big following on BMX, and now he's dragging all that follow into drifting. So at some point that also benefits the drift community, because there's all these kids who they were into BMX that are kind of now getting into motorsports. Look what happened, when like Travis Pastrana and Bucky Lasek. They started getting into cars, and all these kids who were into skateboarding and like motocross, they started like, oh look, they're doing like motorsports thing, like like cars and stuff. It does benefit, like like you say, like bringing people back into your, like appealing to them and then
Right.
bringing them back
Yeah.
to what you want. Yeah.
What else? Other than that,
What do you think, Alexi? Do you have any new plans?
Well, just to top off that, I think, I mean, there is the sort of the stereotype of, YouTubers, like the standard YouTuber car is an R35 GTR, and,
Of course.
but, sort of that's the clueless, the clueless car YouTuber,
Or a
car
Mustang.
of choice. That's the joke, apparently, or a Mustang.
Yep.
Yeah. But, I mean, well, personally, I'm just going to keep making stuff that I think is fun. I think if anyone out there wants to make a video for themselves, I think the only way to do it is to do it. And the best thing about that is when you have no audience, that's good because you can make stupid stuff which you can then delete and no one's ever going to notice it. Like that's anything I put out now. Like literally every time I hit like the send button on the video, I spend the next 5 minutes like refreshing the comments, going, was there a nipple slip in there somewhere? Did I say something? Did I say something wrong? Like there's one video where I said I made a mistake. I said Flavor Flav instead of Easy E.
Okay.
I think it was the other way
oh,
around.
I hope the internet told you apart. Internet just ripped you a new one, huh?
Yeah, and every comment's like, dude, you mean Flavor Flav, not Easy E? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I know, but then it's just stuff like that.
Not gonna redo the whole video just
You
for that.
doy.
Yeah.
At least you can put an annotation on top. Like whenever you say the mistake.
Even when you do that, people just like
they don't care.
You got it wrong, you idiot. So, yeah.
Have you been approached by like other media companies, like trying to do like some collaboration videos or content?
See, that's the good thing. If that's another good thing about YouTube is don't worry so much about the money which you get, because unless you start getting like over 100,000 or more than that per video, it's not going to be that great. You get free stuff like that. Like, you get people, admittedly, it's these days, it's the majority is light bars, headlights, and jump start packs for some reason.
Huh.
I don't know why. They're all just like, hey, put our stuff in your videos. Like, I've already got a jump start pack. Okay.
Well, if you connect this jump start pack to the
funny
next jump start pack, you can double jump a semi.
That was our first.
Dude,
first thing we got.
The first thing we got offered us was a
jump
jump
packs.
pack. Now that you said that,
There you go.
we got 3 jump start packs.
I still use mine. Yeah.
God, that is so funny.
We just actually, this is a good we have in the chat. A guy, Sam
Shevlov. Yep.
Shevlov. Rule 1, don't sound like a douche. Rule 2, don't upload daily crap. Number 3, don't effing clickbait. I agree with all that, but the thing is, if you look at all the most paid people on YouTube, they basically break all 3 of those rules. There's so many. Yeah, there's a lot of sort of those daily vloggers on YouTube are kind of like, "What's up, guys? It's your boy," sort of whatever, and they tend to get a lot of views. But then again, you know what they say about someone so and so's fan base is cancer. Like there's a lot of that, and especially with us in the car world, and we're all trying to build this up together. Like those guys can sort of have their own world, doing their own sort of stupid stuff, and it doesn't matter. But I think, especially with the car world, we all need to be sort of considerate that anything we do affects the rest of the car world.
Right. True.
So that is true. I do agree with number 3. I always say that if I have a clickbait title, I always have a payoff, and that's my personal rule. Like if it says something clickbaity, or if it's halfway through the video, I put right at the top of the description, I put, if you came here to see the thing in the thumbnail, click here.
Ah, nice.
And I always get comments from people saying that, oh, thanks for doing that. But
because we don't care about anything else. We just wanted to see that particular thing.
That's it.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. Just if people want to do it, just do it. And if nothing else, it's a great way just to record your life, so you can watch. Like I'll watch videos from like 2 or 3 years ago. Like, oh yeah, I went there. That was cool, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool. Are you ready for some Instagram questions?
That was a good prelude into the segment, Paco.
Yeah, right.
Just
Okay.
hey, we're gonna ask you questions. Yeah.
What
Right.
about is we're talking about like people commenting and on the YouTube, about the people who's watching live. We get a lot of comments on the live chat. Obviously, we can't read everything because then we get a little distracted from what our guest is saying. But we made a post earlier about we're telling people that we're gonna talk to you, so they poured some
Oh, okay.
questions, and we have a question from Quillam. What's the status of your JCX, and what's the story on why you stopped driving it?
Okay. The JZX, okay. The reason I stopped driving that was, I was at that time I was moving house, so I was very busy. The car was about to run out of registration, and I took it to I took it to a track day. I drove it at the track day, and long story short, I saw that the impeller blades on the turbo were starting to get a bit janky. So I thought, I better go get the turbo rebuilt because it's going to get worse. So what I did was, it ran out of registration, and I thought, I'll get the turbo fixed, put it back on, and just go get it registered. It was an HKS turbo. I took it to HKS, sent it off. They sent it back saying it's completely buggered. The rear housing's got a crack. And I was like, okay, we'll send it back, and I'll just put it back on the car and just go get it registered. They sent it back in a box in pieces. So the car was basically missing a turbo. I moved it to this new garage. It was just sitting in there. All this other sort of stuff happened. I didn't have much money at the time. My R32 was in very good condition. It was still at Ebisu Circuit. So if I ever wanted to drift, I'd just drive up to Ebisu Circuit, drift, and come back. It was way easier to do that at the time. So I just let the car sit there and get covered in boxes, and yeah, it's still sitting there right now.
Oh.
But I've collected up. I got a stock turbo just to stick on there, and that's this summer. I'm going to get it back on the street. It's going to be a street car. It's not going to be a circuit car. So yeah, unfortunately, but because now the beer can R32 blew a head gasket, so that's not
we
driving
saw
now.
that.
So I have to do that because I have no drift cars right now. There you go. Sorry.
Well,
But look forward to it. It's gonna be a street car. I know I said that like 2 years ago, but anyway.
you gotta get back on the drift track anyway. So you gotta
Yeah, I've gotta get back on the street. To be honest, I want to actually just drive around in a cool car on the street, not like my van all the time.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with vans.
No. Well, it's not a dodgy van though. So.
True that. Speaking of street, Connor Anderson asking, on one of the previous podcasts, you said you were going to talk about the current state of street/toge drifting in Japan and how it compares to the past. But last time you never actually talked about it much, so please talk
didn't?
about it,
Okay.
please.
Okay. Well, I don't know how many people watch this on average. See that again. This is one of my other rules of putting content out on the internet for YouTube and stuff. Is imagine it's going to be used in court in 2 years.
You said
So-
this last time.
Yeah, it's like it's what do you call it? It's what's the phrase for it? It's like
Everything you use will be
you're-
against you.
yeah, what you always do, therefore you probably did this sort of thing, like whatever that word is. But anyway, current state of I can talk about it because I don't do it.
Uh-huh.
Mountain drifting is still very active. You can go to the mountains in various places in Japan. Literally every weekend there'll be people there. Usually it's the places which are way out in the middle of nowhere that the cops couldn't be bothered to go to. There's still plenty of mountain drifting. The average level of street drifting is not as good as it used to be because all the really good drivers are sort of professional, and so it's mostly like sort of fairly slow compared to how it used to be, from what I've seen too. I used to go to a toge to watch. No, I happened to drive past a toge one time, so you got to keep it technical.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I saw there was a D1 driver who'd taken his car there on a truck to drive it on the mountain. But this is like 9 years ago, so it wasn't quite super duper high spec car, but yeah. At least that's what I thought. I don't know. Maybe he was.
He probably
But in
unloaded
any
it to
case-
work on it for all we know.
Yeah, maybe the car broke down. He
Yep.
wanted to take it off to anyway. So mountain drifting still very much exists. There are some certain toges like the famous togeis that are like the really hardcore ones, which are close to civilization, they sometimes get heavily busted by the cops. So the guys who do that are fairly close to, are sort of outlaws in a sense where, you know, they probably, maybe they don't have a license or the car doesn't have registration, sort of thing. So I tend to try and avoid the guys who do that sort of thing because, you know, they tend to get arrested and get in trouble a lot. But they're sort of the guys who don't, you know, they DGAF, you know,
Right.
what they do, sort of thing. So, but if you want to go and watch, then yeah, there's heaps of it still. Same thing with street drifting, like around Tokyo, because I'm from Tokyo, so I don't know about other cities quite so much, but it happens. The cops sometimes do have big crackdowns. Usually, if someone gets into an accident, like you know, there's again situations where spectators have been killed, spectators have been hit. There was a guy only a few weeks ago who was he was arrested. His car was confiscated due to suspicion that he had hit a spectator on a mountain road, on a mountain toge while he was drifting. So, you know, street drifting these days is sort of closer to like bossozoku, like sort of you know, outlaw activity to compare to how it used to be. Like it used to be pretty easy, kind of go to a mountain, chill out, do your runs, come back, chill out. Whereas these days it's a lot more sort of outlaw. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Only bad boys, only bad kids go do that kind of driving.
More often than not. I mean, the guys who are really good, like the guys who are skilled, they just want to go just mountain drifting because I guess it's fun. Like they'll organize a time, they'll all go together, and then come back, you know, at a certain time. That's the sort of the way. Like they'll organize it, they'll go there, hit it up, and then come back. Yeah. So,
I have another question for you, Alexi. It's off the topic of drifting, believe it or not. This is from Browns and Blues. Favorite American group / band. And second question is, what type of music do you listen to?
I'm one of those horrible people where I can't give you an answer. Like I'll listen to all sorts of stupid stuff. Like one day I'll be on like Slipknot and Meshuggah and stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
And then 2 days later I'll be listening to like stupid anime songs and like, you know, stuff like that. So
so basically
America.
Nickelback.
Yeah. If you average out the music I listen to, then
It equates to Nickelback.
Nickelback is a
Creed.
good center.
Yeah, essentially.
In the center of everything.
Well, I guess my workout playlist is basically Slipknot. So
There you go. He's a
animal.
metalhead. Hell yeah.
You animal.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question from-
Metal's cool. Metal's pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Question from Macho Man Randy Sanchez. How much of a pain in the D-hole is it to take a train from Tokyo to Ebisu? Like
You gotta say it like Macho Man Randy Savage if you can say it.
Yeah. Here we go.
this is Macho Man Randy Sanchez though.
All right. So you gotta do
How
is
much of a pain in the dick hole is it? Yeah.
All
To
right.
get the train from Ebisu Circuit. Yeah.
All right,
to
brother.
Tokyo.
How much of a pain in the D-hole to go to train from Tokyo to Ebisu? Oh yeah.
Wait, brother is Hulk Hogan, isn't it?
Well, but
Paco's doing a
that's
hybrid.
right.
I heard some Stone Cold Steve Austin in there as well.
I was ready to throw an RKO out of nowhere.
Well, I'll answer it like Hulk Hogan.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, for sure.
right.
You got to get the Shinkansen there, brother. How much of a pain of a dick hole? Okay, it's exceedingly easy. What you do is it's a bullet train. So if just say for example, right now if I got up and went to catch a train to the circuit, what I'd do is I need to make a video about this because I get asked this so much. I
You're
would get
welcome.
up, I would go to Tokyo Station, the main central Tokyo Station. I'd go to the Shinkansen counter. I'd say to them, "Hello, I'd like to get a bullet train as soon as possible to Koriyama Station. Reserved seat, please." So you get a guaranteed seat. So you just go to the ticket counter, Koriyama Station, reserved seat, please, as soon as possible, or whatever time tomorrow. What time does it leave tomorrow? Then you go to the platform, you get on your bullet train, you take it to Koriyama Station, you get off there, you change trains to the Tohoku main line. There's only one train. The train just goes up and down. You change to the local train, you catch it about 2 or 3 stops to Nihonmatsu Station, which is the town that Ebisu Circuit is in.
Jesus.
You get off there, and you walk out the front, and there'll be a taxi there. The door will open up because it's Japan, open up automatically. You get in the car, and you say to the driver, Ebisu Circuit, please.
Oh, in English.
And he will, Ebisu, or you could say Tohoku Safari Park.
Tohoku
Same.
Safari Park.
Safari Park. Or you just say Ebisu Sakito.
Ebisu Saketo. Domo arigato.
Oh, yeah, that's thank you. Just say onegai, like please, onegai shimasu.
Onegai shimasu. Sorry.
Yeah. So
Now we know.
Ebisu Sakito onegai shimasu.
Onegai
And he'll
shimasu.
go, and he'll probably go Ebisu Circuit. He'll double check. And you say yes, and he will drive you to the
Oi.
gate, and then that's it. It's pretty easy.
Wow, so it doesn't really hurt the
usually-
D hole that bad.
It's not that much of a pain in the dick hole. The biggest pain in the dick hole is once you get to Ebisu Circuit, you need a car to get around in there.
Oh.
So
Yes, you have,
right,
you have
so-
to tow it, right? Like get it like a tow truck, like a platform or something like that.
Huh? No, I mean,
oh,
if
wait.
you just want, if you want to go to the watch. No, what I mean is, Ebisu Circuit, you can't walk around in there like on foot. That is the pain in the dick hole.
Oh.
It's a huge hill up, huge hill down. It'll take you all day to walk around, especially in summer. It's stinking hot. So
Sounds like Atlanta.
yeah, it's probably about the same as that. So what you'd want to do is when you get off the train in Koriyama, you just look around for the local car rental place and get yourself a really cheap rental car, like a little Mazda 3 or like a Nissan Note or some little compact car, and just drive it. It'll take about maybe 45 minutes to drive there. The fastest way is train and taxi, but if you want to get to ABC Circuit, the best way is by car because then you can drive around. But the thing is, for example, if you have a car with Andy from Power Vehicles, the taxi can take you all the way in to Andy's complex as well. Or for example, if you've seen the drift taxi video that they do at the ABC Circuit, the drift taxi, the taxi will take you all the way to where the workshop is.
Does he take you sideways?
The taxi, no.
Oh,
they're-
that's not that kind of drift taxi.
No, not that. No. Didn't you see the drift taxi video I did? See, that's what I'm talking about. Like guys
Got
who are
it.
in the industry don't actually watch my videos. It's everyone else. They have a drift taxi at ABC Circuit now.
Yeah.
It's they have a JZX 100 Mark II and a JZX 110 Mark II and a 100 Chaser, and they have 3 bride bucket seats. They have 2 bucket seats in the back, so they can take 3 people, and they drift around on ABC Circuit on North Course, School Course, Toge Course, and Minami.
Nice.
And it's pretty cheap. If you split it up between like 3 people, it's only about $40-$50, I think.
Oh, that's
Oh,
not
nice.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's
Sign
pretty
me
good.
up.
So that's what you do. Yeah, in the chat, Hamo M says, the walk from the gate to Power Vehicles is a massive pain in the D hole.
Oh, there you
And
go.
he's absolutely right. Yeah.
That's when you get some Heelys. See if you can Heely up the mountain.
Or a little scooter or something would
There
be.
you go.
Well, Alexi, as much as we love you, I think we've
We've been over a couple hours. What?
we've been knocking this out, dude. I just
Yeah.
looked at our audio.
Oh, is
and-
that it? There's so many. Wait, can I
Okay.
do like a lightning round?
Yeah.
Sure.
If you want to knock it out, go for it.
Because I mean, I think a lot of people like I can answer some questions.
Oh,
for
please
that.
do. Please do. Yeah.
Let's see. Rolly the Dragon. What was my first drift car? Was a Series 2 RX-7, the original RX-7, but it was horrible, so I bought a 180SX, and that was awesome. For the Force. When you hit the jump at Ebisu, do you shit your pants a little every time? Yes. Everybody does. Everybody does.
You just hear Alexi's wearing like a headset, and you just hear, oh, hey, okay, is that Minami? He's hitting the jump.
That's called the Minami. The Minami.
Minami, mommy.
Like, every time. That's what makes it fun is every time you go over that jump, it's just like, here we go, woo! Like, it's great. Big off. Do I ever miss Australia? I was there for a week, and I miss big steaks and cheese and food, stuff like that. But Japanese food still. The ramen here is better, so it's all right. B Kling 93. How was drifting with YouTubers LZ and Taylor Ray? It was cool. It was great to see how enthusiastic those guys were when they're over here, and how much fun they had, how much fun everyone had. That's the important thing. JZX, Alexi, AJB 51401. Alexi better get the commentary job for FIA Drift. How many times, Jacko 13? How many times have you hit your head off things while in Japan? So many times. And the worst is when I was hungover. I stood up and hit my head on a lamp, and then as I was trying to walk out the door, I was crouched down because I'd already hit my head once. I stood up and I hit my head on the door frame.
Is it really that small out there? Is it everything that much smaller?
Older houses built in the 70s and before that. The door frame, standard door frame, is about 180 something centimeters tall.
Wow.
Whereas, but any new car, any new house, it's 2 meters, so that's no problem.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'3", so like 193 centimeters.
Like you, Corey, right?
Yeah, we're about the same height.
Yeah. So I mean, you get a radar after a while. Like you just know to duck when you get on the train, stuff like that. Let's see. Ramen, Manutastic, ramen, takoyaki, or hot dogs. Ramen and gyoza with a beer is perfect.
I love takoyaki.
Iron Dookie, I think we've already answered that. Let's see. Am I concerned about? Yeah. See, it's not that. Yeah, we've answered that. Alexi, what is your high chew of choice? Noodle powers. I think you mean chew high, but this is an interesting question because there is actually a Japanese brand of chewable candy called High Chew.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about, the alcohol is Chew High. So that's a short chew high ball is what you're talking about. Any one which is 9% I think is good. Any 9% one, just buy the 500 ml 5% ones. I think just the straight soda ones are pretty good because they'll get you effed up. My favorite high chew flavor is lemon.
Nice. I respect that.
I like peach.
Alan Union, will they serve tentacles or hot dogs? Tentacles are tasty. I don't know why everyone doesn't like.
Can you say hot dogs again?
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
I'm Australian. Hot dogs. Dogs.
Dogs.
You like hot dogs? Blackhand Brandon, hairy or shaved? Asking for a friend. I live in Japan. I don't have a choice.
That's up to you. Leave it up to you guys to interpret it however you want.
Browns and Blues. Is Naoki really that crazy? Yes, he is. One time I saw him at an event. It was a party after the event. Everybody was drinking. Naoki can't handle his alcohol, but he was drinking. Everybody started egging him on to try and make him do burnouts. He went over to his car with a beer, pulled a power screwdriver out of his passenger seat, unscrewed a self tapper that was holding on his rear fender, screwed it into the beer can, and then drank the beer through the hole, and then jumped into his car and started revving the shit out of it while everyone stood around and cheered. Wow. So now, yes, Naoki really is that. That's just one. That's probably one story I can tell because other people were witness to it. Other stories I can't probably tell. Matrix man, was it fun showing LZ around Ebisu? Yeah, like I said, all those guys. Everybody come to Ebisu. It is so much fun. Like if you enjoy drifting, you'll love it even more after coming. Subdubbin, is Adam LZ as much of a tool as he looks? Oh wait, he definitely is. Look, everybody. YouTubers, the thing about YouTube is you come across as a douchebag no matter what you do. So to his credit, he just doesn't give an F. So he just does what he does. I mean, look,
nice.
I know, like all of us guys who are really into cars, we know, like we watch that stuff and go, man, you guys don't know anything. But you got to remember that what they're doing is those guys are doing is they're making cars accessible to the younger generation. And remember, like, this is the generation that nobody knows how to drive manual. Like, nobody knows how to drive.
They don't want cars.
Everybody's like, oh man, Uber. Everybody wants to drive a Prius, or whatever. Like, right now is kids these days. I know it's a thing to say, but all these YouTubers are making young people obsessed with cars, and that's going to make things better. I know. Right. Look, we're going to have kids, who like don't know what they're doing. But look, I got to show you something. I've got it right here. This is. I'm gonna show it to the camera. Hang on.
Right.
I used to work for a car magazine called Hot Fours and Performance Cars, and it was basically like a super duper rice. I don't know if you've heard of the term sex spec. It's the
Oh yeah,
the
like
style
the
of
cars
Australia.
are like to pick up
Yeah.
girls and
Yeah, big
Yeah.
chrome wheels, whatever.
Yeah.
This is a DVD. That's me there.
yeah, I saw that post the other day.
Whoa.
Like this is the DVD, right? It came with the magazine, and you know, like we had to
Yeah.
dress up like we were all cool and
Like the Backstreet Boys.
yeah, like the stuff. Where is it? Like, you know, it was all like rice. Like for example, here's the thing. You know, we were doing stupid stuff like racing a horse, like a Mitsubishi Colt versus a regular Colt. And I mean, these videos were pretty good because we were sort of in charge of them. But we're doing stuff like here, like putting 20-inch wheels on a Prelude and stuff like that. And, like there's all stereos and stuff. So what I used to think was cool was comparatively shit. So the point is, even if kids come in like stance or whatever, like they start off not knowing. Let's just keep doing cool stuff, and eventually they'll figure it out. Is what I'm saying. So like I've had so many people say to me, dude, I just bought a 240SX because I love your videos. I want to get into drifting. And my first reaction is to apologize for the horrible financial path that I've put them on. But
The influence.
the more people get hyped on what I like, the more I can enjoy what I like. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So that's it. So, yeah. So go easy on them. They're doing good things, and I'm going to keep making videos too, so you can watch my videos instead of theirs.
Hey.
Hell yeah.
Got him.
So there you go. All right, I think that's it. Oh, Subdubbin said, "Why aren't you allowed to mention the term D1 on the FD live stream?" I'm not. They didn't tell me not to, but I think it's just a diplomatic thing.
It's professional courtesy.
It's just being diplomatic,
Yeah.
which you have to because I do D1 live stream, Formula Drift live stream. I did the announcing for King of Asia. I also do Formula Drift. I do the G1 Grand Prix competition here as well. And actually, this weekend is the Ebisu Drift Series, the first round, because this year there's no D1 at Ebisu. There's no D1 Street Legal at Ebisu because D1 Street Legal it's still on hiatus after that unfortunate accident last year where somebody was killed at Nico Circuit. So there's no drifting competitions happening at ABC Circuit this year. So they started their own series, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
They're gonna and I'm sort of right now I'm thinking, can I just take my laptop and do a live stream of it because they have no plans to do it. So I don't know if anyone out there thinks I should do that, and I don't know, just send me a message and give me some encouragement.
Leave it in the comments down below.
Yeah. Leave it in the comments because it's gonna be a massive pain in the ass because I've never done that before, and like they only have Wi-Fi, they don't have like a connection, so it might be horrible. But in any case, like I announce pretty much everything over here, so you got to keep it diplomatic, make everyone happy.
True.
Cool.
There you go. Yeah. All right. Have we gone over time?
That's. Do you know what? I appreciate you taking the reins on those questionings because usually when we ask the questions, it turns into a 20-minute conversation for each question. So it's like, oh, we can have Alexi online for another 2 hours if we just keep asking him. So what you did, kudos to you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you for saving us all 2 hours.
Yeah, all good, man. I'm always really happy to talk with you guys. And again, you guys are doing this. The world needs a drifting podcast where we can sort of bring up stuff and talk about stuff. And it might not be, I think the more media we put out in various capacities, the better it is because we're gonna hit everybody eventually, And I think most of the people who watch, either watching this live now or podcasting it in their car or whatever later on. The only reason you're still listening right now is because you're all still hyped on drifting too, and we're glad that we have a podcast that fulfills our needs.
We might not be the podcast that the people want, but we are the drift podcast that the people deserves.
That's it.
Was that from a movie?
That's Batman.
Batman. Yeah.
Come on.
Are you a movie guy too, Alexi? Do you watch tons of movies?
Me? You know what?
Hentai. Aye. Are those movies? Sorry.
Yeah, well, many when I
Sorry.
moved. Okay, this I think it's this October. I think it is going to be 9 years in Japan, and I have not seen one episode of Game of Thrones. I've never seen Mad Men. I've never seen anything. I don't watch any TV. I don't watch anything. I don't watch any. The only time I watch movies is when I'm on planes these days. And the only when I flew back from Australia, I only watched I watched 3 movies. I watched Logan, that movie about McDonald's, which had it was called I forget what it was called.
The original Batman, Michael Keaton. Yeah, the
Michael Keaton McDonald's movie, and
Yep.
There's another movie. It was an anime movie. It was called the English name is Your Name. And it's apparently it's the second highest box office taker in Japan ever as far as an animated movie is concerned,
check
which
it
is
out.
that was pretty cool. So, but otherwise, no, I don't really watch stuff these days because I don't have time because Japan is outside and I should probably be spending it fixing my car or doing YouTube stuff.
Yeah,
instead
that's
of watching
the
movies.
thing. Before the Salmon, Paco would always have movie sayings and like
Corey doesn't-
sayings from TV shows, and I have no idea what any of them are. So
Yeah, like I jump on Reddit and there's all these like quotes and stuff that I don't get. Like I was like, I know this is referencing something, but I don't know what
Yeah.
you're referencing.
Yep.
But someone will reference The Simpsons from like 1998, and I'm like, I get that. It's only the old stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
so-
Alexi, I think
right.
we're about to send you. What time is it over there?
It's just 2:40 in the
Oh,
afternoon.
nice.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I
Beautiful.
just said 11 p.m. here.
Oh wow, okay, we better.
No, that's awesome. It's perfect timing. But thanks again, dude. Thanks for everything. You obviously provide much appreciated content, and like you said, it's all about growing the community, and everything that you do is very insightful from us over here in the United States that haven't had a chance to go over there. So, thank you for everything, my dude.
Yeah, man. If you ever come over here, we have I have a van and lots of cool stuff we can do, and I'm sure vice versa.
Absolutely, yeah. Come out here and we'll
Yeah.
get you in something. And we are really considering, after we get off this podcast, we are going to
No,
find a
no,
way
no.
to get you out here.
I'll do it. I'll work it out. I'll work
We
it
will
out.
find a way to get you out here, even if it's
Hashtag-
on us.
Hashtag save Noriyaro
Yep.
Cool.
or something
Alright.
like that.
All right,
Cool.
dude.
Well, Alexi, thanks a lot.
Hey, Paco, wave to him. Let's get it all on camera.
Hey, everybody
Bye.
waving on camera. Yay.
There it is.
Am I looking at you guys?
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, well,
All right.
have a good day, man.
See you, dude.
You too. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, for all the guys who are watching, really thanks for your patience because it's the first time we do a full blown podcast completely live. We have Bon John Joby's audio guy been helping us with the transitions. He's been doing a great job. We couldn't have done it without we lost the signal a couple times and we had to reset the connection or something, whatever. But so far I think it was pretty good. If you guys feel free to leave us comments on let us know what could be changed, what could be better.
Well, yeah, I think just to simplify that is, obviously you guys know this is the first one, and honestly it went a little bit easier than I thought it was going to be with the amount of equipment, the new equipment that we got, and the software and things like that. But obviously the more we go, the better and the more streamlined that this is going to get. As like Pac was saying, Big Balls Brian, first time on the MC 1s and 2s over there, which helped out a lot because I have a laptop in front of me. Paco has a cell phone going through Instagram with his mic, the mixer. Paco's playing with the audio, and then Brian's doing the camera swapping and then the
Internets
questioning, and so it is turning into some sort of job now.
It's kind of a job, yes.
But it's still very enjoyable because with this technology, it's going to take us a little bit further than what we had before.
Yeah.
Not saying that I didn't like it. I loved what we had before, but
Yep.
I think it's time to keep up or get out.
It's time, we are getting better, and it's improving. It's at the end.
And
of
as
the
long
day,
as you
it's-
guys enjoy
yeah.
that too.
And you know what? The most important thing is that we are capable of doing this thanks to our Patreon.
Right.
You guys have been amazing. Literally, if it's thanks to you that we are capable of doing all this. We finally got your new shirts, like Corey's is shown right there. It's our new Sumo Fish collaboration shirt that it's ready to be gonna be sent together with your spaghetti mug that is going to be sent to you. Go back and forth. There you go. Boop, boop, boop. There you go. So you're getting a Sumo Fish collaboration shirt, spaghetti mug. That's for the Patreons who have pledged $5 or more for over 5 episodes. We should be shipping all this stuff this week. So you guys, if you guys are overseas, make sure to send us a message to coordinate. We might need to get like a couple extra bucks for the international shipping. And other than that, we also have to thank AM Intakes.
Yep.
That's another. These guys have been super solid with us. They're one of the reasons as well why we're being capable of doing these shows. And as you can say, like they give us hats because we don't have hair.
Yep.
So
Well, the other thing too is they're allowing us to come out. If you guys are going to be at Nitto Enthusiast Day, it sounds like we're going to be doing a live podcast from the Nitto Enthusiast Day in California on August 12th. So we'll be out there as well as doing a few other appearances at a few different drift events. So thanks again to you guys, the Patreons, the supporters, the listeners, and also AM and all the other supporters. So once again, we're going to be announcing the new sponsor next week once we get some product on display in the office and all those other goodies. But thanks to you guys. And do you know what? I really would like to have Alexi come out here, and if we could come up with a way to get him out here as a Maximum Driftcast sponsored Alexi World Tour, United States World Tour is what we'll call it.
United States World Tour together with System of a Down and Nickelback and
the Creed cover bands.
Yes, Creed. Well, I mean, I thought we were the Creed cover band.
Oh, we can be.
Okay.
But anyways, guys, thanks again for tuning in. Please leave your comments and thoughts on the episode, the way you like the streams. If you liked it or didn't like it, for you guys listening on the podcast, please feel free to check out the YouTube version. If you don't have a chance to listen to the YouTube version, let us know how this crossed over or if it affected the show.
And don't forget to go on subscribe to the channel because our videos were posted originally on Drift Idiot's channel. Now they're gonna be posted on Maximum Driftcast channel. So make sure to subscribe. Click on the little bell to get the notification when we go live. I mean, if you want us to bother you every time we go live. And don't forget, if you want to join our Patreon, www.patreon.com/MaximumDriftcast. And don't forget, if you want to follow Corey Hosford,
At Corey Hosford.
At Corey Hosford and at Street Standard. If you want to follow myself, feel free to go to at Tofu Drift Band or at 2F Performance. And with that,
Drift Idiot. Don't forget to follow
yeah,
Sam because he'll be back.
Yeah, Sam's. Yeah, that's the other thing. Sam's gonna be back on Skype, as you guys saw today. It's gonna be nice quality. It's gonna look good, and it's gonna be right here with us, pretty much. So make sure to follow him at Drift Idiot.
And other than that, see you guys next week.
And thanks a lot for tuning. And have a good night, guys.